Hello! Who's here so far? Everyone here is early, including myself. I'm very early. We're like 25 minutes before we start the class. So normally though, I start about 20 minutes before we start anyway. Let's see who's here. The very first person to comment. That was before we started. Okay, so I won't count this. The first person to comment after I started was Sprinkles. Welcome. I did have someone comment even before I started live streaming. 안녕하세요. Welcome. We have some 안녕하세요s. We have some 안녕s. We have some 만나서 반가워s. Yes. Where's everyone watching from? We have a Croatia. Branka, I think you were the first person I have who's told me they're watching from Croatia. Now, educate me. Where is Croatia? I know this name. I have no clue where it is. But I think you're the first person to say they're watching from there. Unless I forgot. Welcome, Keith. 미국 쌀쌀한 중서부에서 인사드려요. Is it? It's getting cold over there. Here in Los Angeles, it's cool in the mornings and night times, but during the daytime, it's still, the weather's still pretty warm. I mean, I'll wear like a long sleeve shirt or maybe a t-shirt and like a hoodie if I really want to be warm. But yeah, it's pretty nice here still. Let's see. Lucja, I don't know how to pronounce it because the L looks different too. Poland. Sprinkles is from USA. USA. Bella's from Texas. We have Louisiana, another USA. Wisconsin, USA, another Lady Phoenix. New York, USA. Eran, USA, Oregon. All right, I get it. I know the states in the US. Okay, I'm not great at geography, but I at least know all 50 states. And there was a time when I also knew all the capitals because I memorized, I think it was Yakko's song. I think it was Yakko's song. Yeah, from the Animaniacs where he sings all the capitals of the USA. I actually memorized that song for a states and capitals test that I took in history class back when I was in high school. And I did really well on the test because of that song, believe it or not. I can't remember the song very well anymore, but at least still I know all the states. Germany, Kentucky, land of the fried chicken. Brazil, UK, another one from Texas, Tanny from Oregon. Uruguay, South America, below Brazil. Okay, I actually didn't know where it was. I knew it was somewhere in South America. PH, is that Philippines? I think. New York City. I assume you do, but not everyone is from the US, which is why I put both state and country. Makes sense. I thought I was the only person reading this chat. You guys can see each other's messages? Since when? Maryland, Kevin, nice. Polish is spelled like oo, so it's like ucha, ucha, ucha. Now I am Polish. Actually, I am. Partially, I am Polish. I am Polish. Can I say that? Can I say I'm Polish if I'm like 1/6 or 1/8? I don't even know what percentage in genetics I am. What would that be? Let's see. 1/8, I guess. Technically, 1/8 to 1/4, depending on how, because I don't know how my other side of the grandparent, how they married. What's the smallest amount of Polish that you can still say is a Polish? Not too much that Costco removes you from their menu, but just enough so you can claim that you're Polish with the country. That's what I'm wondering. Turkey, or I guess Turkey, right? Let's see. 한국 수업에서 잠시 방향에 관해. Okay. Zai, you're learning about directions. Okay, so this will be a good lesson then for you. Tennessee, France. Not welcome, our friends from France. Uruguay, welcome Kai. Winter says, after your last lesson, why can't I speak? On the quotes form, I was able to read bubble messages and understand what was being said. Nice. Croatia is between Slovenia and Bosnia, and honestly, if you, I know Slovenia is a country and Bosnia is a country. I never heard of Herzegovina. I never heard of that. I don't think you would I don't think you would claim 3 real countries and then make up a 4th to confuse me. I just haven't heard of that before. But now you got to tell me where Slovenia, Bosnia, and the other country are in relation to, okay, you say that. Okay. Or to better position, Italy and Croatia are divided by, okay, that helps. I can kind of picture where it is now. All right. Turkey. The U, actually, I don't know how to say that U sound, is important. Bosnia and Herzegovina is one country. Okay. I didn't know that. You can't expect me to know things. What do I look like? A teacher? I don't know all this stuff. For those of you who are just arriving, we'll be starting the class on direction words in 20 minutes. I have a very thick outline today with all sorts of words we're going to be talking about and concepts. So I'm not just going to give you a list of words and say this word means this, because that's not helpful. I'm going to tell you what the pieces of those words mean, because if you know those pieces, then even if you see a brand new word you've never seen before, you'll know what it means because you know the piece. It's like I'm teaching you how to like cook. I'm giving you the ingredients and teaching you a few of the most important recipes. But then when you see another recipe, you'll be like, I know those ingredients. I can do that. So we're going to be learning a lot of stuff about directions. And this is another lesson where I highly recommend getting the worksheet, because even this lesson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, there's like 16 sentences in this lesson I'm doing for you today, which is actually like double what I normally do. But that's not enough, because we're going over so many concepts and there are so many ways to use them that if you get the worksheet, it's an extra 18 sentences. So it's like more than what we're covering today is in the worksheet. So if there's a concept in today's lesson that you want a little more practice with, get the worksheet. Those are all on my Patreon page. There's a link in the description box. I'll also post it here. You can get it on Patreon. And if you are a Patreon member, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Even if you're not a paid Patreon member, even if you're one of the free members, and there are some of you who are just following for free. I mean, there's normally nothing you get from following Patreon if you're not paying, but there will be something coming up this week. If you are a Patreon member of any tier or even no tier, if you're just a member, there's something coming up. So I'm going to let you guys know, since you're watching. No one else is going to know this, just you. If you are a Patreon member of any amount, including 0, you will get something coming up this week, Thursday or Friday. And it's really cool. I promise you. I'm not going to say it's my cheat sheets that I've been working on for weeks and talking about. I'm not going to say it's that, but it's something just like that. In fact, it is. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. But just make sure you're a Patreon member so you can get that as soon as it goes up. There is a bonus, though, for those of you who are paying, like a paying member. You'll get a little something extra, but everyone will be able to get this thing that's coming out soon. Hi from New York. Evie Poo, it sounds like you're gonna continue that with, it's Saturday night. That was a pretty major conflict in the 90s. Yeah, I was a child in the 90s. I mean, I was a child in the 2000s too, but I really was a child in the 90s. I was born in 86. So depending on what part of the 90s, I might not have really, my brain was still developing. I don't really think I knew what kind of pizza I liked. Nor could I tell you that I lived in California. So yeah, forgive me for that, not knowing that stuff. Another one from Uruguay, as you write in Korean, yes. I'm from Italy. It's difficult finding good lessons in Italian from Korean. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what content there is for other languages. I mean, I know there's some for Japanese, I'm aware. There's some for other, like Chinese speakers. I know I've seen some content in like some of the Indian languages. I've seen content in French, a little bit in German, and I haven't really seen any in Italian. So I'm curious if vowel direction coincides with the direction. No, it does not. With the exception of right and left, I'm not really going to talk about that in the lesson, except for right and left, which does. That's for a different reason. No, there isn't any sort of correlation between the vowels that are being used and the direction that you're going to be talking about. Any advice for Italian speakers? I don't know. I will say this, and I don't mean it sarcastically, but Koreans don't use their hands for talking very much. You use your hands for if you need to illustrate something, like if you're pointing something like that, but you don't use them in general for emphasizing things that you're saying, like we do in English a little bit, or especially they don't do that sort of thing in Korean. So that's one thing I'll say. Although I know it's like a stereotype that Italians use their hands a lot, and in some ways they do, not everyone necessarily all the time, I heard. Huzzah, he says, yes. Valley Girl here says, like, hello, OMG, it's totally tubular to be here, for sure, for sure. Nigerian here, welcome. How to actually start talking Korean, because I know how to read and write, and I understand. You got to start talking Korean by learning the basics first. So start with the absolute basics, but you're not really going to get to learn how to speak it, how to talk it until you have some sort of, what's the word? Routine for practicing it. That can be speaking out loud by yourself or with a friend if you're in Korea. Preferably, if it's good if you have Korean friends. If you don't, try practicing by yourself. And if you can't make even the most basic sentences yet, then you haven't actually started learning Korean yet. So I would do that first. I have a free course you can use. You can get any sort of books or curriculum or whatever you would like. Just start learning some basic grammar. Hello from Texas. Billy, if someone's moving to Korea and got immersed with the culture and language, do you think they'll reach conversational level in like 8 months? Bernard, if they are only using Korean, because it's so easy to it's so easy to just speak in English like most people do. But let's say, hypothetically, you speak no English, you know no English speakers, and you purposely only speak Korean even when someone tries speaking English back to you for 8 months, and you're outside of your house. You don't just stay at home watching Netflix all day, but you're going outside and interacting with people, interacting in Korea. 8 months is enough to get fully conversational. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You're going to be conversational in 8 months. It doesn't take that long to learn Korean to conversational ability when you're doing that much exposure to the language. You don't even need 8 months. You'll be conversational in like 5 months or 4 months. But if you're talking about like you sound really good, you're going to need a few years for that. But conversational, yeah, totally realistic. However, will that happen? Most likely no, because of what I said. Most people go to Korea, they think, I'm in Korea now, therefore I will learn Korean. So I don't have to do anything about it. Like, I'll just take Korean class and I'll learn Korean. And they meet Korean friends who want to use them for English practice, of course, because you're very valuable as an English speaker, especially if you're a native English speaker. Or you'll meet someone who you realize, oh, I really like this person. I don't care if they're using me for English practice because we're friends. And you'll hang out with other foreigners there that don't speak Korean natively. You'll consume content that's in your own native language, and only occasionally you'll hear Korean in the background. You'll learn just enough to be able to buy stuff at the store. That's usually what happens in like 99% of cases. But if you do go out of your way and you try to learn Korean in Korea, yeah, that's the best way to do it. And you're guaranteed to learn Korean that way. You wouldn't survive if you didn't. So you end up learning rapidly. Do you have any tips for learning 받침? Yes, check out my video coming out this week on Friday. Join my Patreon page to get it a little bit early. And in the meantime, if you don't want to wait 4 days, go watch my beginner course because I have a full lesson about the sound change rules in there. From Dusseldorf. And that is why they call me Worf. That's all I can think of whenever I hear Dusseldorf. I loved that movie. Anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, too bad. Koreans use their hand for finger hearts, X's, and I guess that's it. Yeah, Koreans have a lot of body language and hand symbols, but they do them to mean things. They don't do hand symbols and body language for emphasizing things like we do in English, and then more so, stereotypically, more so in Italian culture. But so if you're like talking like this and you're making hand motions that don't contribute to what you're saying, like it's really awkward in Korean. They do hand motions, but like I said, it'll be for a purpose. Like they're trying to illustrate something to you. I put the Ohio in Ohio Riz. Yes. It's so dumb. Berlin, Germany. Nice. I might have a chance to go to IRL Korean class again, but my grammar is meh. Should I go for a lower level that I might be able to test into? It's whatever you'd like, Maddie. If you can do the higher class, do the higher class. You'll learn more out of it. I'd say try as high as you can get, as long as you can actually follow along. MG, welcome. Any Christmas surprises you might have in store for us? If you're a fan of ATs, then yes, I do. It's not a stereotype. We did a lot of hand movements. Right now I found your lessons in other English online. All right. I heard if you want to pronounce words better, put a pen between your lips and try to say the word, and after a while you'll get better. Does that work? If it works for you, that's not what I recommend. Not that I'm not saying it's not useful. I'm just saying I haven't seen that before with Korean. But what I recommend for getting better at pronunciation is to try to speak louder, because your brain knows what sounds right and wrong in Korean if you've had enough exposure to it. And you probably have by listening to enough songs, TV shows, and all that stuff. Your brain probably kind of knows what it should sound like to some extent. Like if someone said "annyeong," your brain would know, even if you're like a brand new beginner, your brain would know, oh, that's wrong. So I recommend practicing by speaking more loudly, speaking out loud, like with an act, like pushing some force into your voice when you're speaking, like you're confident, even though you're not. "안녕하세요," like practicing it loudly, because your brain will, you hear that and you'll be like, oh no, oh no, you'll hear it, right? Makes me think of Knuckles for a second. You'll hear it and you'll know right away that's not right. And that'll help you to correct yourself more easily. And then having enough Korean listening practice that you can do that in the first place. And then there are other ways as well. Evie Poo, ATs, yes. Oh, Klaus! Klaus, our first sponsor today. Yeah, I used to write just thank you, but I realized, thank you so much, Klaus. Thank you for your passion for the Korean language. I used to write thank you, but I realized it's not just thank you. It's actually, you are my sponsors, because I don't say things like, this lesson is sponsored by Raid, Shadow Legend. Like, I don't give you that kind of stuff in my videos. I don't push like Raycons on you. No offense if it's a YouTuber who does. I get it. I just don't have to, and it doesn't match my content, because like I'm trying to be a teacher first before anything. So what kind of sponsorships could I do that match teaching Korean? Well, there's not really much. And I haven't been contacted by any of the ones that I think could match me. So you really are my sponsors, the people who support these videos, who like, share, my Patreon supporters, my channel members, all of you who have green names. So yeah, thank you. And you are our sponsors for today. Okay. The pen thing makes speech clearer, but not more correct. I think mumbly is sure that could be a trick to get you to stop mumbling. Although I think also speaking louder can also do that too. But if that works for you, go ahead. 100 million hours. I think Keith's answer is right on the exact answer. That's how many hours you need to learn Korean, is 100 million hours, give or take a few minutes. Yeah, shadowing is helpful too. Shadowing will help you with pronunciation as well. But as far as tweaking your pronunciation, if you speak louder, then you'll be able to do that a little bit faster. Shadowing, though, of course, helps. And everyone does shadowing. You're doing shadowing whether you know it or not. But the term shadowing is usually referred to doing it intentionally, where you're purposely sitting down, listening to someone speak, trying to copy exactly the way that they say something with the same intonation, the same voice tone, everything as perfectly matched as possible, as if you're like doing an impression of them. And that's what's called shadowing. And that helps a lot too. But whether you do that or not, you're always doing it subconsciously, because you're listening to what someone else said and you're going to repeat it kind of back how it's in your head anyway. So you can do it intentionally or you can do it naturally through lots of conversation practice. Either way, it's going to end up happening. Yeah, until I get sponsored by either Beak, the pens, or apples. Yeah, Big Apple or Big Cake. Big Cake, yeah, they've got a lot of money. And so we'll see. I've noticed that male and female speakers sound different. Yes, I've done a video about exactly that topic. Search my Korean FAQ series. You'll find a video about how men and women speak differently in Korean. My daughter got to have a fan call with one of the members. When was that? I know that they used to do they still do that? Because I'm doing research for them right now. In fact, I've already finished 4 of the 8 videos. I've finished writing 4 of the 8 videos. They're long. Each one is over 3,000 words easily. My analysis papers that I've written. And I found lots of clips of them doing fan calls, which I've watched just for listening practice. I mean, listening, not practice, but what's the word? Research, for listening research. And they used to do a lot of them, but I haven't been able to find any recent ones. So I'm wondering if when they were like a newer group, so I know they debuted in 2018, but they seem to have done calls for like the first few years. So I don't know when they stopped doing that. Okay. Sponsored by Samsung. That could work. Sure. I did shadowing in my early interpreter training. This is random, but is there a way Koreans use to show they're emphasizing or yelling something? Yeah, Koreans will do it by changing the words that they use, but you have to keep in mind, Koreans speak differently depending on who they're talking to in the first place. In English, although we can convey different levels of politeness to someone, we can do that too. We do it through changing the grammar forms, how fast or slow, how clearly we're speaking, do we use slang? All of these things contribute to how polite our speech sounds. Right now, how polite does it sound like I'm talking to all of you? Maybe fairly, because I'm speaking slowly and clearly. I'm not yelling. I'm not using like incorrect grammar too much. But if I were to like slow down speed up my speech and stop caring so much about making little mistakes and pronounce things a little bit less clearly, then maybe a little bit less politely. That's how we do a lot of things in English, or different grammar. Like, how could I help you today, sir? You know, Korean doesn't do it that way. Korean does it with different grammar forms. That's how you can make endings. That's how you can make your Korean more and less polite, and sometimes different verbs. So you can't make it caps lock to someone, because automatically caps lock now is going to fall into the casual area. You're not going to be using caps lock to someone who you'd be polite to. So it is just, you use casual speech, you insert swears, you insert more exclamation marks, you insert emojis so they know what you're talking about, and you might use more slang words. Like you would start off your sentence with, hey, you, and now the rest of the sentence is going to have the tone of caps lock, right? But there is no caps lock because the way it works is different. You can't use caps lock and be polite. It would be like in Korean, essentially, you can't speak like that and have it be polite. It would be rude. So there is no such thing as caps lock in Korean. Yes, Algeria, welcome. All right, we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Again, there's another live stream next Sunday. So there's one today, and there's one Sunday from now, so 7 days from now. Get the worksheet for today if you don't already have it. This is just the outline. We're going to be doing like 16 sentences today, and they're short, but even 16 sentences is not nearly enough for this form we're doing today. Not the form, but for these words we're going to be doing today. So get the worksheet. It has an additional 18 sentences if you want more practice. If you don't need any more practice, then you don't need the worksheet. Just letting you know. Okay. That was real. Oh man, I drank a lot of that. That was really sour. Okay. Sorry, give me a second. That was so sour. Okay. All right. I think I'm okay. Today we're going to learn about a lot of useful direction words. So words that you're going to be using when you're telling the direction where something is. And the first one we're going to be using is maybe the most common one that you're going to see. And that is 쪽. Now, what is 쪽? 쪽 is a noun. It's actually what's called a bound noun, in which this noun is only used together with other descriptions, with other words. So you're not going to be using 쪽 by itself, but you'll see it used together with other words. And what it means is a direction or a way, as in like that way, this direction, that direction. But again, it's not used by itself. You're not just going to say, is this a 쪽? Like, how do you... 쪽이 어디예요? Like, where is the direction? Or I guess maybe let's do it this way. 쪽이 뭐예요? Like, what is the direction? Doesn't really make any sense. You can't use 쪽 by itself. So it's going to be used with another word, and commonly you'll see this word used together with certain particles. Let me write down a few of the common particles you're going to see it used with. You'll see it used with 으로, going toward a direction. Like something, 쪽으로, and then like 가다, like to go that direction. Or to go to a direction when you're talking about a location, like a destination where something's going. Or you can describe the location. You can say that 쪽, that direction is, and then describe it. And it can also be used with just the verb ida, like it is that direction, or it is this direction, like that. So you'll see it used in a lot of different ways, but we still don't know any words we can put before it. So let me give you a few. You can use it first of all with e, meaning this, that, and that. You'll see it used commonly with 이, 그, and 저. Note that it'll be 이쪽 as one word, 그쪽 as one word, and 저쪽 all as just one word with no space. So this means 이쪽, this direction, this way, 그쪽, that direction, that way, and 저쪽, that direction, that way. Now, what's the difference between 그 and 저? This is not a lesson about that, but I'm just going to give you a quick reminder. First of all, E is anything that's close relatively to the speaker. 그 is anything that's close relative to... 그 is close to the speaker. Sorry, not the speaker. Say that again. 그 is used for anything that's relatively close to the listener. And 저 is used for anything that's far from both the speaker and the listener. It doesn't necessarily have to mean far away. It can be like kind of next to the listener, but not right next to them. Like you're standing in a circle and I'm here and the listener's there and 저 is just right over there in a circle. So it's all the same distance. But 저 is something that's not close to either the speaker or the listener. So that's really all it is. But it still just translates the same way, like that. So it's like this, 그, as in you, like anything near you, that. And then 저, something that's far from both of us. So you can use either of these words first for a direction. So let me give you a really quick example sentence. Actually, you make this sentence. Go that way. 저쪽 means that way, that direction. So make the sentence, go that way. I'll give you a minute, just a minute, then we got to move on. let's see. Who's going to be first? Who's going to give our first sentence? So go that way. Okay, I'm only going to wait for 40 more seconds. We're really going to keep this tight. Keith, yes. Perfect. Yes. Yes, Lexica. Perfect. Evie Poo. I mean, you're not wrong, Evie Poo. You don't actually even need a particle because technically if you don't put a particle, it's implied you're talking about the object marker, which is okay. Perfect. Welcome, Hope. Nice, nice. Yes. 저쪽으로 가세요. 저쪽으로 가라. Okay. We got some different levels of politeness. Let me give you an answer. I'm going to be polite. 저쪽으로 가세요. So go, please, go toward that way, that direction. So please go that way. 저쪽으로 가세요. Please go there. Please go that way. Okay. But you can use other words as well before 쪽 to describe what kind of way or what kind of direction it is. For example, 어느 means which, like 어느 something, which something. 어느 쪽, which way, which direction, which way, that way, like that. So you can make this sentence. Really straightforward. 어느 쪽이에요? Which way is it? 어느 쪽이에요? And then someone says 저쪽이에요. It is that way. Or 이쪽이에요. It is this way. 어느 쪽이에요? Which way is it? Okay. But there's another 쪽 that you really should know. And that is 오른쪽 and 왼쪽. 오른 means right. It also does mean right, like correct, just like in English. 쪽 is a way or a direction, so right direction. So that's the right, like go to the right or look to the right, literally right direction. Or 왼쪽. 왼 means left, so left way, the left. So this is for the direction of right and left. 오른쪽, 왼쪽. Like that. In Korean also, it has the same meaning, left as in, like, not correct, not right, not good, that sort of left. So it has the actual literal meanings in English too. They match, like right as in to the right, but also to be right. Left as in to the left, but also to be wrong, to be like corrupted left. Like that sort of meaning is actually in here as well. So it's kind of just a little interesting tidbit. From 오르다, to be right, and 외다. Well, there's another origin further beyond there, but yeah, to keep it simple, left and right. Okay. So, knowing this, we can make a sentence like this. I need more space. 왼쪽으로 꺾으세요. 꺾다, as I wrote it up here. And drop my pen. 꺾다 means to turn. So you can be in a car and you can turn. 꺾다. So 꺾으세요. So turn toward the left way. Turn to the left direction. 왼쪽으로 꺾으세요. Turn left. 왼쪽으로 꺾으세요. I'll leave this up for just a second before we go on. Gonna check the chat for a second. Wani asks, how would you say like my do thing? My chicken? What do you mean? My something or my chicken? My? You would just use the regular Korean word for my. 나의 or 저의 or 내 for short or 제 for short. 내 치킨, 제 치킨, depending on what level of politeness you're using. My chicken. Very specific question, but that's how you do it. Okay. But you can also use any of these words with 족 as adjectives, as is. So if you wanted to say the left dog, as in the dog on the left side dog, the left direction dog, is cuter. How would you say that? Let's make this sentence. This will be simpler without saying, you don't have to do cuter if you don't know that. You can just make it like this. The left dog is cute. How would you make that sentence? I'll give you a couple words. 강아지 is the one you use for dog when it's a pet. Now, 개 is another word for dog, but 개 is used for typically like a wild dog or just dogs in general. But a pet dog is use the word for puppy, actually. 강아지. And then cute is the verb 귀엽다. So how would you make the sentence, the left dog is cute? Like you're looking at a picture of two dogs. And one of them is like, you know what I'm talking about. And the other one's like, and you're pointing, you're like, oh, the left dog is cute. Not the right dog. I think the left dog is cute. Or if you want to say it, I think the left dog is cuter if you know that grammar, if you know how to put that sentence together. Give it a try. Pretty much all pugs look like that, don't they? It's like, pugs are always like, I shouldn't be alive. 왼쪽에 있는, sure, you can say that. 왼쪽에 있는, that's fine. Or just Keith has, you don't even need that. You don't even need the topic marker. But other than that, your sentence is perfect. 강아지 왼쪽에. So what your sentence says, Jimothy, is the dog is on the left is more cute, is what your sentence says. It makes sense, but it's not the right grammar. So we have a couple sentences that got it correct. You might be overthinking this. You can use, as I said, you can use those words with 족 as is, as adjectives. So you don't need to know any other grammar to use them as an adjective. As I just said, you can use them as they are. So like if you want to say 왼쪽 something, that's an adjective. Let me give you the sentence. 왼쪽 강아지가 더 귀여워요. 귀여워요. Cute. 더 귀여워요. Cuter. So the 왼쪽, the left way, the left direction, the left side, you can think of it like that. The left 강아지, the left dog is cuter. As in the dog on the left is cuter. So you're saying the left dog is cuter in a photo of two dogs. 왼쪽 강아지가 더 귀여워요. The dog on the left is cuter. You could have also said 왼쪽에 있는 강아지, which means the dog that is on the left if you want. But you could also just say 왼쪽 강아지, meaning the left dog. That one, the left one. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a second and then we'll move on. Okay. Next, let's talk about cardinal directions. What is a cardinal? I can't even say it. What is this? Does anyone know what this is? You got 5 seconds to answer. Okay, too late. Cardinal directions. I'm sure like all the military people, all the Boy Scouts out there are screaming, wait, let me stop typing it. Cardinal directions are what you're going to see on a compass. So in English, what do we say? North, south, east, west, right? Korean doesn't do this order. In Korean, the order is east, west, south, north. That's a little bit complicated to remember, but you can remember it more easily if you remember the abbreviation. Don't hate me, but I made this. Eat warm, spicy noodles. Unless there's a better word to remember. Basically, yeah, east, west, south, north. So eat warm, spicy noodles. That's the order that you say them in. And the words in Korean are as follows. 동, east, 서, west, 남, south, 북, north. 동서남북. That's the order that you use for the cardinal directions. Okay. How do you use these directions now? Because you're not going to say to someone, I want to go 동서남북. Like, where are you going? Your compass is broken. You got to pick one, right? Well, it's easy to use them because we only need that word 쪽 that we already learned. So you take any of these that you want. Let's say east, 동쪽. Now we have east direction, east way. And now you can use it exactly like before. 동쪽으로 가다, to go to the east. 동쪽이에요. It is east. 동쪽에, whatever. 동쪽 강아지, like the dogs in the north. Sure, whatever you want to say. You just take this syllable, the one you want, and attach 쪽. And now you can use it any way you'd like, just like before. Just going to check here. Yeah, I see a couple people wrote them down while I was saying them. North, south, west, east. Oh no. Yeah, it's pretty much backward. Almost. I mean, we do north, south, east, west, but it's like, it's just messed up. I wish I could tell you though, if they do the exact same order in Japan and China, because I don't know the order they did when I was studying Japanese. I never learned the order. I only learned the words. I think though it's the same in China and Japan, but someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a Chinese or Japanese teacher. But I guess they use them all in the same way. Zai, we're going to talk about that later. Don't worry about that. Okay. So, let's do an example. Okay, I'm going to give you the words and I want you to make the sentence. Okay, I'm going to give you a few words and I want you to make a sentence. I want you to say, hopefully you wrote down the directions. I'll write them again just in case. That. There. I'll write them down again. I want you to make a sentence that makes sense. I'll give you, and I'll make it easier on you. I actually will probably forget which direction the sun rises or sun sets or the moon rises or the moon sets. I don't know. So that's good for you. I'm not going to be picky if you get the right. You could say the sun rises in the north. I would have no idea if you're right or wrong. So just make a sentence. The moon sets in the east. Go for it. I actually don't know if that's right. So make a sentence talking about the sun or the moon rising or setting in a direction. And for the direction, you're also going to, again, you're going to pick one of these like 동쪽, 서쪽, 남쪽, 북쪽. And then when you're saying it does something at that direction, you're going to use the particle 에서, since an action is happening. 에서, like at that direction, at that way, something rises or sets is what you're saying. So you're going to use like 동쪽에서 or 서쪽 or 남쪽, 북쪽에서, like that. Go for it. Let's see what you got. Show me your moves. China is east, south, west, north. Okay, so no, it's totally done different than Korea. Because I'm wondering where the order came from then. I'm wondering if it's something that they picked up from Japan, if China doesn't use it. Or if it's something that is from China, but China recently changed it. 해는 동쪽에서 뜨고, oh, you're using both of them. Nice. I wasn't even expecting that. 달은 서쪽에서 진다. Very nice. 해가 동쪽에서, oh yeah, I'll conjugate this for you, but you're going to conjugate 뜨다 as 더, if you're using the 요 form, so 더요, and 지다 as 저요. Or you can conjugate it a different way. You can say 뜹니다 or 집니다 if you want to use that. Or 진다, 뜬다 if you're using plain form, or 뜨고, whatever if you're going to connect it, 지고, anything like that is fine. 해가 동쪽, oh Keith, you want to use 쪽, but yes, you're correct. 해는 동쪽에서 떠요. Nice flow. 해가 서쪽에서 떠요. I mean, you're not wrong, Lumen, it's just that letter will combine into this. You get 떠. 동쪽에서 져요. 해가 서쪽에서 져요. Nice, nice. Okay, I'm just going to read these silently really quick so I can catch up. 달이 서쪽에서 져요. 남쪽에서 해는 떠요. You're actually not wrong because 아연이, what you wrote is from the south, the sun rises. So, which is what you wrote, which is grammatically correct. It's not grammatically natural, but it's correct. And technically correct is the best kind of correct, right? If you just switch 해는 to the beginning of the sentence, so 해는 남쪽에서 떠요, I can't tell you if it's wrong or not because I actually don't know, but your sentence will be perfect. 해는 동쪽에서 뛰어요. Oh, 이비푸, 떠, with one 어. But yes, you're correct. 서쪽에서 해는 뜨는데 동쪽에서 달은 진대요. Grammatically, I understand you. 서쪽에서 쭉, so you would start with 해는 서쪽에서 뜨는데 달은 or 뜨지만, like that. Okay. Let's do a sentence. But like I said, I actually, if you said something that's impossible, like the sun sets in the northeast and the moon rises in the north south, I would be like, perfect, as long as your grammar makes sense, because that's what's important, right? As long as the sentence is understandable, you get points. Okay, I actually have to check here because I don't remember which side it comes from. 해는, so the sun, 해, 동쪽, the 동, east. So the east way, the east direction, 에서 from, 뜨다 is to rise. So the sun rises from the east direction is what it literally means. The sun rises in the east. 해는 동쪽에서 떠요. That's pretty easy. And then you can say the sun that's right. It's south. I mean, no, sorry, not south. West. That's the word I was looking for. And then sets in the west, right? So you can do that. 서쪽에서 져요. So the sun sets in the west. I almost could have written like sets in the south, and I was like, wait, no, I'm pretty sure it's east and west. Yeah. Because I remember that line, like Shanghai Noon, the movie with Owen. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And Jackie Chan. And he says something like that. The sun doesn't rise in the east here. It sets here or something. He says something that doesn't make any sense, but I just kind of remember. So it's an east or west sort of thing, not north and south. Anyway, moving on. Okay. You can also use it as a general direction, as in like a part of something. So if you're saying something like 남쪽, the south, it doesn't just mean south direction. You can also use these to mean like that area, the south. So you can use like 남쪽, not just to mean south, but also, yes, the south. And you can make a sentence like this. 미국의 남쪽에는, so in the 남쪽, the south of America, 멕시코가 있어요. So there is Mexico in the south of America. Literally, in the south direction of America is Mexico. 미국의 남쪽에는 멕시코가 있어요. So Mexico is in the south of America, which it is. I'll leave this up for just a second. Studying while eating a delicious turkey and pepperoni lettuce wrap. That sounds like Thanksgiving leftovers. 해가 서쪽에서 뜨겠다. Yeah, that's like something is unbelievable. You say the sun rises from the west. Owen Wilson. Okay, I was like, is it Owen Wilson? I didn't want to say it because I was wondering, what if Owen Wilson's someone else? Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. He's like whispering while he's yelling. That's his trait. Is 해는 져요 the same as 해질녘? Those are nouns separate. This is what I gave is the actual verb for to set. 치다. You're not saying sunset. You're saying the sun sets. You're saying it as a sentence. And there are many words for sunrise and sunset as well. Okay. But maybe for a different lesson. There are also words in Korean for things like northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. But I should say they are not common. But I'll tell you what they are. They're exactly what you would think. So, north, 북, 동, east, north, west, south, east, south, west. Note how the first syllable is either north, 북, or south. That's how you can remember how to make these. So if you really wanted to, you could have a sentence like something is in the 북동, the northeast of somewhere. In English, we use northeast, northwest, southwest, southeast, north by northwest. We use all this stuff commonly. In Korean, they do not. Outside of like giving someone technical directions for something, you don't use these. You're just going to say, 저기, like that. But here they are. Let's move on though. Okay. Next, we have another word that seems to be kind of similar, but it's very different. And that is 편. 편 means a side. So it doesn't mean a direction or a way, but it means a side of something. Now, you're not going to use 편 as well by itself. It's used with other things, like 쪽. In fact, there is also a grammar form that uses 편. We're not going to be talking about today, but if you're wondering about a grammar form that uses 편, then I did a live stream all about 편 separately. October 4th, 2020. 20. So if you want to learn about this in more detail, we're not going to be talking about it today as a grammar form, but you can learn about it from this live stream. Okay. So 편 means a side of something. So let me give you a few common words that use 편. Actually, do you know any common words that use 편? I could write them up. Do you know any? Tell me. I wrote one here. 건너편. 건너다 means to cross. 건너편. And let's see what we got. Lots of place names with dual directions though, right? Like, what do you mean? Lightning McQueen, that's right. Cha-chow! Ah, yeah. I actually like the first Cars movie. It's cheesy, but I kind of like it. Cars 2 was like, why? Cars 3 was like, no thanks. Cars 4 was just awful. I got you. There is no Cars 4. But if they made it, it would be pretty bad. Actually, let me check. There's no Cars 4. I'm pretty sure. Okay, thank God. There's no Cars 4. You would have believed me, though. As soon as I said it, you'd be like, yeah, you're right, Billy. That's right. 4 was just terrible. I forgot it. So bad you forgot the whole movie. Okay. Hey, Flo. Thank you to our new sponsor, Flo. Oh, this new pen is just so nice. See, this is a brand I can get behind for markers. Volcanics. This I bought like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and this box is still going strong. I think I still have like a couple of these left. I only change it like every few months, like 3 or 4 months I'll change it, and it's still like brand new. Thank you so much, Flo. Let's see what you wrote. My bottom of the hour sponsorship. Thanks for everything you do. Now I just got to get 58 more people. So we got Kai with the top of the hour, Flo at the bottom of the hour. Now we got to get like the third minute of the hour, the 18th minute of like all of these going around the clock. And then I can just sit here like dancing, raking in money. That's what we got to go for. Thank you, Flo. Okay, let's see what else we got. Sue writes, 편이다. That's the grammar form I mentioned. So go check that out in my other live stream. 반대편. Yes. 반대편. I'm going to write these up. Any others? 편의점. That's a different 편. I mean, yeah, actually, I think it actually might be the same. No, that's 편하다's 편, which is convenient. This one is 편 for a side. 남편. No. I'm not talking about like 편 in other words. I'm talking about 편 like when it means a side. Yes, Keith. Okay, that's enough for right now. There's actually another one I'll tell you in a second. Nice, Flo. I missed the top of the hour. I only watched Cars 3 for Nathan Fillion. Yeah, pretty much everyone does anything with Nathan Fillion for Nathan Fillion, and there's no other reason, is there? I mean, why? Why would you actually want to watch those shows if it weren't for him in the shows? So I'm with you on that. 맞은편. Okay, yeah, non-편. Okay, no more puns. Just this is good. 건너편. So 건너다 means to cross. So 건너편, the crossing side. This means the other side across. So across from somewhere. As in literally crossing. Next we have 반대편. 반대 means to oppose. So this is the opposite side of something. Not necessarily that it's across from something, but it's facing it. It's opposing it. It's opposite. 맞은편. 맞다 means to face. So this is the side that faces something, literally. So this is the opposite facing side. Very similar, but a little different in nuance. Whereas this is just the opposite side. Why might you use one or the other? just by nuance. Do you want to emphasize that not only is it opposite to it, but it's actually facing it? So if you're in front of one building, you're going to see the front of the other building? Then that. If maybe the building's turned or it's a little bit off, but it's definitely on the other side. Or if it's maybe down the street a little bit, but it's opposite from it. Or maybe if it's down the street a little bit, but it's across from it. So you have to cross the street. It might not be right in front of it, but it's somewhere across the street on the other side. So these can all be used interchangeably, but they have a little bit different nuance. Like if your house is across the street, but it's not facing, you're not going to use 맞은편, although you could. It technically is still the facing side of the street, but you might want to say like, it's the 건너편 on the other side. So it's just nuance. What sort of nuance do you want to give? Do you want to say it's nuance that it's across from here? It's on the opposite side of here, or it's the opposite facing, like it's actually facing here. Pick which one you'd like. There's one more we'll do in a second, but first, let's do a few example sentences. Let's do an example sentence for each of these. I want you to finish this sentence. 길 is street, 맞은편에? What would you put in here? What is on the 맞은편 of the street? Make a sentence for me. 견면? That's 면, not 편. I need a minute anyway to process how sour this is. Okay. Make some sentences. Now we have 편의점. Yeah, now you can pull out the 편의점 again. 편의점 있어요. Yes. 길 맞은편, not 면. 편. 맞은편에 서점 있어요. Yes, there's a bookstore. There is. I saw it. 길 맞은편에 서점 있어요. 병원 있어요. 길 맞은편에 병원 있어요. Yes, there is. There's a hospital too. I saw it. Lexica. I'll sponsor minute 7 for for BTS reasons. I'm assuming, right, Lexica? Okay, Lexica has the 7-minute sponsorship spot. No one else can leave any donations at the 7-minute mark. That's the rule now. Top of the hour and the bottom of the hour are also full. So there's only 57 spots left. So act fast before your spot's gone. And you're going to be stuck with a weird number, like at the end of your Gmail address, because you didn't sign up in time. And now you have like Billy 00073 because 72 was taken. Thank you, Lexica. 길 맞은편에 서점 있어요. Yes, 길 맞은편에 제 남편 간 편의점에서 서 있어요. Okay. You're standing at the convenience store, right? 길 맞은편에 택시가 있어요. It just looks like you're drinking water. Oh yeah, well it's kind of like pinkish. It's a strawberry flavored caffeine drink. I actually don't drink caffeine. I don't have caffeine normally. But on days when I need to get work done really well between the hours of like 2 and 4, when I normally would get tired, if I have a big meal, I'll get kind of tired between 2 and 4, but that's right when I do my live stream. So I have some caffeine before, that way I don't get extra tired. But it doesn't give me any extra energy. It's the exact same as I would be normally outside of the hours of 2 and 4. So yeah, it works, but I don't have it normally for work. Only live stream days. So Sundays are the only days you'll see me drinking caffeine. Usually. Because I don't need it. I mean, it doesn't do anything for me. It just gives me a headache and helps me to stay a little bit focused, but I'm normally fine for that. 지하철역이 있어요. Nice. 기다리고 있어요. I'm waiting. Oh, nice. Nice, different type of sentence, Greenmine. 백화점이 맞은편에 있어요. Very nice. And you reorganize the sentence. I like that. Okay, so let me give you one. No one actually wrote this, but that's fine. This was the only right answer. 길 맞은편에, so on the other side of the street, literally the facing opposite side of the street. 도서관, library 있어요. So there's a library on the other side of the street. 길 맞은편에 도서관 있어요. Next. This is a little bit more complicated. I want you to finish this sentence. I'm starting it out with 실수로, which is by accident, or is it on accident? Accidentally. We'll just say accidentally, so I can't be wrong. Because I know one of those is wrong. Okay, accidentally, 반대 is opposite, so opposite side. So by accident, or on accidentally, the opposite side, something. Do you want to say you went to the opposite side? You did something on the opposite side? You saw an opposite side something? Did something to the saw, you see the opposite side. Whatever you want to say. Make a short sentence. 길 맞은편에 공원 있어요. 이 공원에서 자주 운동해요. Yes, 반대편 건물 있어요. There's an opposite side building on the other side of the street. Doesn't make much sense. But grammatically, sure, you can put those pieces together like that, but the sentence doesn't make sense. Okay, how would you finish the sentence? How could you? I'll just give you less than a minute. We can only take less than a minute, and then we really have to move on. Because I don't want to give you too much pressure to write a sentence if you can't think of one. 실수로 반대편에서 기다렸어요. Very nice, Timothy. So by accident, I'll just accidentally. What is with my voice? I just said like accidentally. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. So accidentally, I waited on the opposite side. You could tell your friend, 실수로 반대편에서 기다렸어요. So by mistake, I waited on the opposite side of the street. 실수로 반대편이 없어. Oh my God, it's gone. By mistake or accidentally, the other side it's just vaporized. It's gone. 반대편 친구를 만났어요. I met the other side friend. You might want to say at the other side. 반대편에서 친구를 만났어요. And then your sentence would be fine. 실수로 반대편에 지나쳤어요. I passed by on the other side. 실수로 반대편으로 갔어요. A small typo, but yes, your sentence is correct. Accidentally, I went to the other side. Okay, so let's get a sentence here. Whoops. 실수로, accidentally, literally by a mistake. 반대편, the opposite side. 반대편, bus, 탔어요. So I took a bus on the wrong side of the road by mistake, or literally the opposite side of the road. So I took the bus on the opposite side of the road by mistake. 실수로 반대편 버스를 탔어요. Oh no. I wish I could say this was an example sentence. I've done this way too many times. One time I was taking a bus from a city called 구리. I was meeting a friend, and then I was leaving after meeting the friend. I think it was like 9 o'clock. And I was staying in 수원 at the time. So 수원 it's about a 2-hour trip to get back. So I was planning on getting back to my apartment at like 11. So I can go to bed. And I took the bus, but I wasn't paying attention to the bus stop. I didn't look at the number. I just looked on my app. It's like, take the bus here. I'm like, okay, I'm about here. But no, it was on the opposite side. There's like a really small divider in the middle of the road. It was on the other side of that. And I was on the bus and it's like 9:45 and I'm looking at the stops because I'm like, I'm really tired and I knew the bus was going to take like an hour to get to the subway and then I would have to take the subway here. I'm like, oh, where's the subway? It should be coming up soon. I don't know any of these stops. I realized I was going the wrong way. So like, no. So I got off the bus, changed sides, came back on the bus. I ended up getting home. It was like 1 a.m. and I was exhausted because I was already tired. Normally I would sleep at like 10:30ish. So I was already exhausted. It's like 12 or 12:30. I finally got back home. And that was not the first time I've done that either. I've done that a lot. I've taken the subway the wrong time a lot. So this is a real experience for me. True story. So I've made videos about how to take the subway, the bus, how to take the train. Those videos are made from lots and lots of experience taking the wrong way. So those are like tips for me. Like, hey, Billy, pay attention to this part of the sign. Pay attention to this number at the bus stop. Make sure you're taking the right time for when you're at a bus station because you might see the bus pull into the right spot, but it's the wrong bus because it's for a different location and it came early and you're thinking, oh, it's early. It's leaving early. That's great. It's the wrong one. So yeah. Okay. One more. I want you to also finish this sentence. Let's use 건너편. Again, 건너다 means to cross. So this is like across is what it means. Literally the across side. I want you to make any sentence using 건너편. You can use it like with something before it. You can use something after it. It can be short. It can be long, whatever you want. Just make a really quick sentence. I give you maximum 1 minute to do this. Then we got to move on. 안녕하세요. 저는 사만다입니다. Nice. 자주 하는 편이에요. We're not talking about that 편. That's for a different lesson. 실수로 반대편 버스를 갈아탔어요. 버스로 갈아탔어요. So you 버스로 갈아타다. To transfer to the wrong bus. You're not transferring the bus, but you're transferring to it. Okay. Got 45 seconds left. 건너편에 도둑을 봤어요. I saw a thief across the street. Okay. 여자가 대박이네. Okay. 길 건너편에 강아지를 봤어요. Nice. I saw a dog across the street, on the other side of the street. 건너편에서 사고가 발생했어요. An accident occurred on the other side. Okay. 식사를 할 때 우리 엄마 건너편에서 앉아요. When we eat, my mom sits across from me. 내 버스 건너편. Okay, you're like, oops, you didn't finish the sentence. Okay, 15 seconds. 15 seconds, then I'm going to move on. Actually, I'm going to just start writing my sentence. But I'll still read it for the next 10 seconds. All I can say about ATs is that, like, when it comes to their handwriting, I have better handwriting than three of the 8 of them. That's all I can say. When you watch my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. I didn't want to say, like, my Korean's better than them because that's not what I meant, but, like, handwriting. And this isn't good. My handwriting, I'll be the first to say my handwriting's not great in any language, but Yeah, look forward to the AT's videos coming up. 제가 강 건너편으로 뛰어갔어요. Okay, I ran to the other side of the on the other side of the river. All right, 방 건너편에서 자요. Okay, so I sleep in the room across from the cat. Does the cat get the bedroom, and you get like the floor of the living room or on the sofa? Okay, 백화점, department store. 백화점 건너편에. So on the other side of the department store, so across from the department store, 카페가 있어요. There is a cafe. 카페가 있어요. Or more naturally, 카페. 카페가 있어요. There's a cafe across the street from the department store. 백화점 건너편에 카페가 있어요. Okay. There's one more usage of 편. It can also be used to mean someone's position, as in someone's side, like taking sides. Like, oh, I thought you were on my side. That sort of side. So you could say something like this. 당신은, so you, 당신은 누구? Who? 누구 편이에요? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? 당신은 누구 편이에요? And then you could reply, you know, 네 편이야. 네 편이야. Your side. Your side. Like that. So you can use 편 to mean a person's side. Again, it's not their actual side, not that kind of side. That would be yup for an actual physical side of something. But this is like for a position, a stance on a position, someone's side when you're arguing or discussing something. 사정에 가면 횡단보도를 건너주세요. Okay. Moving on. Okay, we're good on time. So let's now talk about a few more direction words that you're going to come across. And the first one I wanted to talk about is 방향. So I said that you cannot use 쪽 by itself. You have to use 쪽 together with like 이쪽, or maybe 저쪽, 왼쪽, or 동쪽. Anything like that, 어느 쪽. But you can't use it by yourself. However, but you can't use it by itself. But you can use the word 방향 by itself as direction or way. So it has the same meaning as 쪽, but it's a regular noun. It doesn't have to be combined with anything. You can combine it with something. You can say that direction or which direction like that. But you wouldn't do something like north direction because that kind of sounds awkward, right? So this is actually used to literally say a direction or a way. Let me give you an example. 방향을 잃었어요. 잃다 means to lose something. So I lost my 방향. I lost my way. 방향을 잃었어요. I lost my bearings in that sense. Like I lost my directions. I lost my way. 방향을 잃었어요. So this is what you would use for that. If you wanted to talk about a direction in general or some sort of way in general, how to get somewhere, and you're not specifically saying like this way, that way, right way, left way, north, south, east, west, any of that. This is the regular word you can also use. Next, I have a set of 3 words that you should also learn. Someone else had asked about these a second ago, but now we'll cover them. Okay. 직진하다, 우회전하다, and 좌회전하다. These are verbs. Obviously, they end with 하다. And this one means, 직진 means to go straight. So, you can use this one to give directions to your driver. You don't have to say, 저쪽 가주세요. Please go that way. You can just tell him directly, go straight. 우회전하다 and 좌회전하다 are combinations of the 한자 우, which means right, or the 한자 좌, which means left. 회전 is turn. In fact, if you want to use, you can also use the word 회전 by itself with any sort of, I shouldn't say any sort of, there's only like one I can think of. If you go to revolving sushi is 회전 초밥. 초밥 meaning sushi, 회전 meaning turn. So that's the word for revolving sushi. You can go to a 회전 초밥집, a revolving sushi restaurant. So right turn, left turn, to do. So this is to make a right turn or to make a left turn. So you don't have to say 왼쪽으로 꺾다, to turn left or turn right. You can actually just directly say turn left or turn right. So you could say either one. You can say 왼쪽으로 꺾으세요. That means make a turn to the left or turn to the left. Whereas this means make a left turn. This is one single word. So these words have slightly more of a formal, of an official feel to them, to say making right turns or left turns. Hey, Nicole! Nicole has minute 42. Do I really need to write these down? Nicole. I swear I'm going to have to write them down. Okay, well, for right now, I'm going to write it down. 42, you have 7. Flo has the 30. Kai has the 0. She hasn't claimed it this time, but she still has it because she's done it so many times. She owns it. That means only 56 seconds left. I mean, minutes left in the hour. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being the 42. I guess that's the best number there is. So you got a good number there. 회전 목마. Yes. 회전 목마. 회전, revolving, turning, 목, tree, 마, horse. So literally turning wooden horses, I believe. Unless I'm misinterpreting the 목. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. 젊은 남자. 서방형 가세요. Okay. What if we never had any sense of direction in the first place? In that case, you would use the suffix chi. Chi is a, what's the word? Lack of, not like a poor ability of something. Like, maybe challenged, we might say. Directionally challenged, a bad sense of direction. And it's used with other words. You can have 몸치, like your body. You can have 음치, like sounds, like notes. You can have 길치, which is for, 길 is for streets, for roads. So this is being directionally challenged. Being bad with directions is 길치. 저는 길치예요. So I am a 길치. If you are bad at singing, you would be 음치. If you're bad at dancing, you'd be 몸치. And there's one more I can't think of right now that I heard. But anyway, these are the most common ones. And yeah, I am 길치. So I have to constantly double check everywhere I'm going. Like I have to make sure, even if it's the way I've gone every single time, I still have to check whenever I'm in Korea. Because it's really easy to take At some stations, it's easy to get the right one because there's only one train that goes one way all the time. Doesn't matter when it comes in, it's always going to a certain spot. But when I'm making a longer trip where it's possible that the trains are actually heading in a different direction, I always have to double check because it's really easy. I'm like tired. I'm like, oh, I just want to take the train. Just get in. It's the right one. It's about the right time. So I have to stop myself and check. 눈치 is not that one. 눈치 is a different word. Yeah, it's the answer to everything. Kai, top of the hour today. Kai. Yeah, I gotta remove this for a second. There's no space here. 0. Kai, the original. Thank you so much, Kai, for the officially claiming my 00 minute slot in the sponsorship family. So now, there are only 56 left. It's a limited time offer to get your permanent number listed in here. Whoever donates and claims a number, I'm going to claim that number for you. If someone else donates during that minute, I'm going to be like, sorry, and going to refund it. You're going to have that spot for the rest of your life. However, only for today. It's a special offer. Okay. Okay. Let me give you example sentences. 직진하세요. Very straightforward. Go straight. 직진하세요. 직진하세요. Go straight. That's it. There's nothing fancy about these verbs. Actually, let me give you a few other words first. Before I have a couple more sentences, but I want to give you a few other words first. Okay. So before I give you a couple more sentences, let me give you a few more words. First, we have 건너다. 건너다 is to cross. I said this one means to cross. We saw it in 건너편. 건너다 means to cross. Next, we have 지나다. 지나다 means to pass by. And then similarly, 지나가다 is 지나다 plus 가다. So to go past something. Most of the time when you're saying that you're passing by something, you mean that you're going past it. So you're going to use this one. But if you're not talking about you're going anywhere, just in general, you're passing something, then 지나다. So you can use both. I'm going to leave these up on the board for just 20 seconds, and then I'm going to give you three more example sentences using these. Welcome, Nicole. Getting it tattooed as we speak. Oh God, please don't. Please don't. Sue, amazing. That's correct. So the way I remembered "oo" and "twa" was thinking Jim Carrey saying "ooh, right," which makes no sense because he doesn't say that. But I think he does say like "righty, righty-o" or something like that. He does say something like that in one of his movies. Anyway, yeah. So I remember Jim Carrey saying "ooh, right." That's how I remembered "ooh" means right, and therefore the other one "twa" must mean left. So if that works for you, remember Jim Carrey saying "ooh, right," which is totally his catchphrase in all of his movies. You know what's hilarious is Jim Carrey said he was retiring like a few years ago. And it's even quoted in Wikipedia where he's like, the only way I'm going to come back is if like an angel brings me a golden script on like a golden platter. And then it was announced right after that that he agreed to be in Sonic 3. But if you haven't seen Sonic, it's actually pretty fun. I saw the first two with my kid. I don't know if I would go to see the movies if I didn't have a kid, because there are kids' movies. But for kids' movies, they're kind of fun. And Jim Carrey really does do a good job. It's nice to get to see him doing Jim Carrey-ish stuff. And he's like goofier as the movie goes along. And then the second one, he starts from there and gets goofier. So I'm hoping that the third one, it's going to even be goofier. It probably will be. But yeah, they're not bad movies, if you're wondering my opinion on those. Alrighty then. Yeah, that's what he says. Which did you say was the more common one? Between what? Okay. That was more than 20 seconds. Now let me give you some sentences. I have 3 sentences. Okay. 신호등. 신호등 means a traffic light or a traffic signal. 신호등을 지나서. So passing the traffic light. So after you pass the traffic light, 우회전하세요. 우회전. Right turn. So make a right turn passing the traffic light. So make a right turn after you pass the traffic light. This 서 here is used to mean doing something after you've done something. 신호등을 지나서 우회전하세요. So make a right past the traffic light. I'm going to leave this up just for 10 seconds. Actually 20 seconds so you can write it down and then we'll go to the next sentence. More common? No, it's not which one's more common. They're both common. But if you're wondering which one should you use to say turn right, you can use either. If you're okay with using 오른쪽으로 꺾다 to turn right, then use it. If you feel more comfortable saying 우회전하다, but just know that 우회전하다, as I explained, is a little bit more fancy sounding. But it's not wrong. It's not only used in formal situations, but if you're just giving directions to the taxi driver, you can say, like, you can use 꺾다 to turn, or you can say 우회전하세요. 여기서 우회전해주세요. Like, please make a right here. They're both fine. They just have different nuances. Like saying, make it turn right here, or make a right turn here. It's like, what's the difference? Slightly different nuances between these two forms. Okay. The driver will probably use to you, like 우회전 and 좌회전. They'll use to you. They'll be like, oh, do I make a right turn here? Because they're trying to sound a little bit more fancy, a little more formal, more polite. Oops. Do I have any space in here? Oh, yeah. First of all, 횡단보도 means a crosswalk. 횡단보도. So, at the crosswalk, 건너세요. 건너다, to cross. So, cross at the crosswalk. Cross to the crosswalk. Cross across the crosswalk. 횡단보도로 건너세요. I'll leave this up for like 20 seconds. Let's refresh my chat window here. Can you use 우회전하다 or 좌회전하다 for like walking? I mean, would you say turn right when you're walking? Typically, no, they're used for driving because you don't say, I'm going to turn right here while you're walking. You don't say that. You say go right, right? You say 오른쪽으로 가다, 왼쪽으로 가다. You don't need to say I turn right because you're not like a car. You're not a machine. It's not like you're turning like this, turn right. This is what 회전 means, to turn, like rotate. So that's for describing a car doing this. It could be for describing a person. It's not how you use it. You can just use 가다 for that. 마일 앞에서 좌회전입니다. Yeah, so make a left turn or make a right turn in front of the whatever. like that. Yeah, the GPS will have certain commands that it'll repeat over and over, depending on which GPS model you have. 횡단보도로 건너세요. So cross at the crosswalk, or cross to the crosswalk. 그냥, just do it. Just do it. 그냥 지나가세요. 지나가다 is to go past, to pass by, to go past something. Just go by, just pass by. 그냥 지나가세요. Like there's someone in the middle of the street that's going, and you're like, what do I do? And your friend's like, 그냥 지나가세요. Just go by, just pass by. Like they're not going to do anything to you. 그냥 지나가세요. Just go by, or just pass by. Just go past. Anything like that. 그냥 지나가세요. Or actually, maybe the guy tells you that. 그냥 지나가세요. Just go by. Like, I'm cool. I say this when I'm filming and someone stopped. Like, they think they're going to be in my shot and they don't want to be on film, which is common. Like, I think especially with older Koreans, they don't want to be on camera a lot of times. So I'm filming and they'll like, oh, oops, I don't want to be on film. And they'll just like stop. They're trying to be kind of polite. They're like, I don't want to mess up the shot. I don't want to just be on camera either. So I usually say, 그냥 지나가세요. Like if I'm not filming, like, hey, just go ahead and walk by. I'm not filming. 지나가세요. 지나가셔도 괜찮아요. Like that. It's fine to go by. You can go past. And that is it. Let me take a really quick thumbnail here. That's gonna be my thumbnail. Yeah, wavy arm dude. 지나오다, sure. To come past by. Yeah. That's exactly fine if you have a situation where you'd use that. This lesson, we only covered like 16 sentences, which I know it feels like we didn't do very many at all. But we did like double what I normally do for a lesson, but the worksheet has an additional 18. So I said this in the very beginning of the video, but you really want to be a member of my Patreon for this week. Now, if you join the Patreon and you are a paid member, you get access to worksheets, outlines, a bunch of bonus stuff. But even if you are just a free member of my Patreon, you're still going to get something coming up this week on Friday or Thursday. And I'm not going to say it's my cheat sheets that I've been preparing for weeks, which are awesome, but it is the cheat sheets which are coming up. So make sure you're a member on Patreon. If you're a paid member, you'll get a little bit of a bonus on top of that. If you're a free member, you'll still get the cheat sheets. Yeah, I'm going to be taking questions now. Feel free to stick around. You can ask any questions you want, and I'm going to be here for, let's say, 30 minutes. Let's just say 30 minutes. I'll hang around here. We can just chat. Any questions you have about the lesson, any questions you have in general, or whatever you want to talk about, that's what this time is for now. Got them. They're right here. They're right. All the cheat sheets are right here. Yes. Yes, you don't even know what you're missing. No, they're going to be free. It kind of hurts because I could sell them because I know other people make cheat sheets and they sell them, but these are free. And we got sound change rules, all of them on one sheet. Post positions, all the common ones, plus some extras. Dates and seasons, common words for days, how to tell the time, all the major holidays, like all of them. Months, counting, everything. All the common markers and particles and their common uses, as well as a couple uncommon uses. Conjugating the Yule form, all exceptions, all the irregulars, not all the irregulars, but all the main exceptions that make irregulars. The Korean alphabet, stroke order, dictionary order, as well as the spoken order of all the letters. Did I say stroke order? Yeah. The name of all the letters, consonant vowel blocks, how to pronounce them, notes for how to write them differently. And then, of course, or I already said that. My favorite, though, is the every single sound change rule one, which is cool because they all fit on one little page. Yeah, there's a video coming up for that on, I believe, Friday. You'll see the video. 13-minute. Okay, MG claims the 13-minute donation spot. Because you say BTS debuted June 13th, 2013. Oh, I didn't know 13 was a number for BTS, but that makes sense. Thank you. This is a Robert. Give me the cheat sheets. Oh, you can get the cheat sheets right now, actually, because they're on my Patreon if you're one of the $10 tier or above. So everyone who's already been a Patreon member and they're in the higher tiers, not the regular tiers. I mean, I still appreciate your donations, but the ones who are like really pumping it every single month. I heard something fall down the stairs and then my kid's like, so I think he dropped something. Anyway, it should be fine. Anyone who's in the higher tiers on Patreon, you already can get the cheat sheets right now, as well as watch the video. So if you haven't already, check out your Patreon for that. Everyone else will still get them in a few more days. Nastaria grabbing our quarter of the hour donation. Thank you so much, Nastaria. I'll read your message in just a second. So you want the 15-minute slot. Nastaria has the 15-minute slot. I'm gonna have to take a picture so I remember all of these. I was like, oh, I can remember Kai and Flo and Lexica. Like, that's only 3. But now I'm like, I'm not gonna remember this. I'm gonna have to take a photo so I can remember everyone here. I hate that I missed the actual lesson, but here's a quarter of the hour donation. Oh, thank you. It's too bad though you did miss the lesson, but it'll be abridged. You'll be able to watch it soon. Hope says, I'm definitely planning on studying the sound change rules. Yeah, I wish I had the sound change rules one as a beginner. While I was writing it, I kept thinking that to myself, like, oh man, I wish I had this when I was a beginner, because I wish I had it because I spent so much time compiling them together that, you know, the Learn Hangul video that I have on my channel that I put together, those sound change rules, I didn't copy from the internet. I figured them out on my own because I had studied it so long, but there weren't any resources that were teaching them at the time. There were a couple Korean websites that had some of them, and there was a website that had every single letter with every single other letter written out, but it was also not complete. So I made that list myself by struggling and stressing about it for years until I could finally organize it and realize, oh yeah, that's doing this and this is doing this, just because there weren't really many resources about that. So I'm like, I just wish I had this as a beginner, because it just fits on one little page. It's like they're all there. It's so easy when you look at it like that. You're like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, it's still a lot of rules, but when you look at it on one page, it's not very daunting anymore. What was the other word you can say instead of 건너편, 반대편, and 맞은편? Oh, I was talking about the other 편. The 편 that we did for someone's side. Thank you. I'll get my printer fixed by Friday. Your printer was broken? Billy, why does my co-teacher keep opening the window in the dead of winter? Yeah, the Korean, if you're Korean watching, plug your ears for a second. I'm going to say something that you might be upset to hear. Koreans have this belief that stale air will make you sick because of 에어컨병, which is literally air conditioning disease, which is the belief that if you're leaving the air conditioner on in your car, you can die even if it's a hot day, but you're using the air conditioner, that something in the air conditioner will kill you. It's not the fact that your car is turned off and now it's only the vent running in a hot car on a hot day and your grandmother's in the back seat and you thought she'd be okay because the air conditioner's on. It's not because of that. It's not because you've never changed your air conditioning filter once since it was installed 20 years ago. It's not because of that. It's not because of all these other reasons. Anyway, they have a class of, sometimes it's a couple cases a year or whatever where someone will die because they're in a room where the air conditioning was left on. There are various reasons, but yeah, they believe that the air conditioning dries out the air. I mean, it technically does, but not because of the air conditioner, because of the condensation getting stuck in the air conditioner from the air getting cooler, sure. But some people have a belief, I say some because I don't want to be mean, but it's most people think that this is a real thing that you get. I'm hoping my wife's not even listening because she's going to be like, oh, it is a real thing. So yeah. So anyway, back to your question about that. That's the reason why they would open the window, because they're afraid of the stale air from the air conditioner. And it's not just an air conditioner. Many of you have, I'm sure you've heard about fan death. You've heard about fan death, right? Tell me everyone here has already heard about fan death, because I do not want to have to go over fan death again, but it's a similar concept. I bought a fan when I was living in Korea in 2007, and the fan came with a warning label in the manual. Like a whole page of the manual had this label in it that said, don't turn on the fan in a closed room or to risk, because it can, you might be risking death. I kid you not. Okay. Yes. Fan death. It's when one of us dies. Yes. Yes. A Billy fan. So one person says they don't know what it is. I'm not going to explain it if only one person doesn't know what it is. But if most of you know what it is, I'll leave it at that. Nastaria. Yes. Nastaria claimed the 15-minute spot now officially. Kai says, what I'm hearing is go join the $10 to $15 tier. I'm saying if you already have that tier, you can access the cheat sheets in high quality right now and the video for them explaining how they work. And it's a short video because obviously I'm just explaining what's already on the papers. What's the difference between 일단, 먼저, and 우선? 일단 is first of all. Like, all right, for now, what we need to do is the nuance of that. 먼저 is doing something first before anyone else. Specifically, like before anything else or before anyone else. So I first did this. I did this first. It's not like saying first of all, it's just saying first. So you can use 먼저 as well. And 우선 is priority first. Like this is the priority. The most important thing we need to do right now is 우선. And that's used the least of those three, although they are all pretty common. What happened to putting a wet towel in front of the fan? That's just for air conditioning. That works kind of like a swamp cooler. So it'll cool the room a little bit. Actually, it doesn't cool the room so much as it cools directly in front of you. AC used to give me a headache. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. Yeah, that sort of thing. And you have to think about the reason why would the AC give you a headache? Does it give you a headache because suddenly you run into a cold room and there's cold air blasting on your head, but it's hot and you're dehydrated? That can happen. Is it giving you a headache because there's no filter, or because the filter's super old, so it's just blowing the dust in the room back into your face? There could be a lot of reasons, but that's kind of what they call it. Is the link to your Patreon? Oh, I'll post it here. It's in the video description, but now it's also in the chat. So yeah, if you want to get them right now, they are already on Patreon in high quality, like we're talking Snoop Dogg levels. You can print those out as posters if you want. They are so high quality. But otherwise, everyone else will get them, I'd say Thursday, Friday, when the video goes up. Let's see. Sorry if you already explained this, but how do you express this side or the other side of something? Yeah, exactly. Exactly how you wrote it, Maddie. Is there a video about gaji? Yes, I do. Can you use 쪽 as in leaning or heading toward something? Yes, you can. 미술학 쪽으로 생각하고 있다? Let me get back to you on if there's a more natural way, but like I'm trying to think. That's the first thing that came to mind, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the most natural way to say it. If you come into my Discord, tag me. I can try to double check if there's a more natural way to say it. But yeah, you can also use 쪽 for that sort of not physical, but like literal, like metaphorical meaning of a side of something or toward something. Okay. Yeah. Only a couple people said they didn't know fan death. Basically, it's just, I'll just really quick, the belief that if you turn on a fan in a room that's completely sealed, that you'll die. Because the reasons are varied. Because, the fan dries out all the air and you'll dry up and you die. You dehydrate and die. That's one reason. Obviously doesn't make any sense because fans, as by themselves, fans do not dehydrate the air. The other reason that I heard is that the fan pushes the air out, and the air being blown on your face can cause stress and makes you die suddenly at night. It causes your heart to stop. I've heard this one before. Another ridiculous explanation I heard is that the fan chops up the oxygen molecules in the air and makes it so the air is unbreathable. That's another one I heard. Yeah, obviously turning on a fan and closing the door and making your room completely airtight does absolutely nothing, and it's completely safe. What's not safe, though, is leaving yourself in a tiny, tiny shoebox without any fresh air for like several days at a time, because yeah, technically you could run out of air if you were in there for like a week and you didn't ever open the door and it was like airtight, but a room is not airtight to begin with. So no, you can't have any issues from it. But what actually it is, and what I think it actually is I'm trying to see, how can I talk about this without this video getting demonetized? I'll just say it's something that sometimes people might do when they are left with no other choice and they're very depressed. I'll just say that. That's not going to get me demonetized for this video, is it? And the parents don't want to take the blame. They don't want to blame the kid. Obviously, it's just a tragic thing. So what do the police put down on the report? There was a fan running in the room. Oh, there wasn't? Hold on. Mom, get a fan. Put it right there. Okay. Fan death. Wasn't your fault. And I kind of get that. I kind of get that. Now, that's not in every case, but I believe some of the cases would be that sort of situation. It's just more of an unexplainable cause. Like maybe a grandfather suddenly passes over at night and you're like, what happened? Gramps was totally healthy yesterday. And well, there was a fan in his room. So maybe it was the fan. I've heard about that. Someone else said that their family member had passed when there was a fan. Maybe it's the fan. Okay. Fan death. Like that's the sort of reasoning that you get. And it went on so long it got embedded so much into Korean culture that it actually is considered legitimate until like a couple decades ago when people started finding out about this and laughing at it. Not the passing of the person, but the cause, that being blamed for it. And then I think a lot of Koreans started to think about it and they're like, oh, wait a second, that makes no sense. And they realized, oh yeah, that's kind of dumb. But a lot of people still believe it, even though they'll publicly say, ha ha ha, yeah, it's funny. They actually believe it fully. So, yeah, it's just a thing. I haven't encountered too many young Koreans that still believe it, but a lot of older Koreans, like people in their 40s, like people older than me, or even people similar age as me, they still believe it because they've heard it's been reported on the news about like, oh, this was due to a fan death or something like that. So that's what that whole thing is. Yeah, instead of SIDS, yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's kind of like we don't know, so let's say it's this for a lot of situations. And I'm making a guess at that because I should claim that's a guess because I don't have statistics of how many they claimed were this. But I'm going to make an educated guess that the number they report each year goes down because of this. We're becoming more aware of other causes and less likely to look at a fan and try to look at the other reasons like, oh, wait, of course it's not the fan. Well, then what else could it be? But in the past, that wasn't so. You just say, oh, I don't know. Must have been the fan. Would hyang be toward? Yes. And I debated putting that on the lesson, but it's in order to use it, you need to know terms for saying moving towards something in the direction of something. And that's not something you're going to use in your normal conversation, your everyday conversation to say it was heading in that direction or I faced heading into that area. Like it's just more of a high level grammar, but not for today's lesson since it's beginner level. Yeah, fans are atom splitters is what one of my Korean friends actually told me that explanation as his guess while laughing while he was saying it. He's like, it cuts the oxygen. He's like, But he didn't make that up. He had heard other people say that. Like it chops the molecules, not atoms, but it does, like it chops the molecules up and it splits oxygen away from, nitrogen, which is funny because we actually don't breathe oxygen. We breathe nitrogen and what is it? What else is inside of our air? I know that oxygen isn't the main part of what we breathe. There's other stuff that we need. Yeah. We need to learn more about AC myths from Korea. Well, one AC thing is that maybe this isn't a Korea specific thing only, but that they don't know that you can change your filter in your air conditioner and that you should wash your air conditioners, because there are different types of air conditioners in Korea. The most common one are the ones you see mounted horizontally on the ceilings. And those ones have a washable filter. It's like a metal filter inside. And people don't tend to wash them. They just use them forever. So you'll turn on the air conditioner and it smells weird. That's because it's been sitting there. It's gotten musty over like 20 years, 30 years, more realistically, like let's say 20 or 15 to 20. And then the standing units often have a pull-out filter that you can change, either wash or like replace one, like a HEPA filter or something. People just don't change those. But this isn't Korea specific. This is also people in the US. You're supposed to change your air filter in your house, in your apartment. Do it at least do it every like 3 months. Because once it's been saturated with dust and stuff, it's still filtering out some stuff, but also it's not going to be able to filter out as much. And some stuff's going to end up kind of poking through it as it wears out. So yeah, change your air filters. They're really cheap. Order them in a giant pack. You can get them for a few bucks each. Flo, wait a minute, Flo. Oh yeah, it is the bottom of the hour. I'm going to cause so much trauma as people like rush to donate before they lose their registered spot. Thank you so much, Flo, for the bottom of the hour donation. Shocked Pikachu face. Yes. Billy, what do you think of the mass immersion approach? I mean, what do I think of immersion, or is this something else you're talking about? Is this someone trying to monetize the concept of immersion? I have videos, though, if you want to know how to do immersion in Korean. Of course, immersion is the best way to learn. I'm never going to tell you that's not. Immersion is the best way to learn Korean. I have a couple videos in my Korean FAQ series about that, in my Glass with Billy series about that. If you're immersed in the language, you're going to learn faster. So the best way to get immersed in Korean is to move to Korea. If you can't do that, at least surround yourself with Korean in your everyday. Like change your phone to Korean. Use Korean websites, listen to Korean content all day, speak Korean with your friends all day as much as possible. That works as immersion too, even if you're not in Korea. How many hours would you suggest to a university student to learn Korean? The more the merrier, but it's not how many hours you have, it's how you're using those hours, because you could just spend 12 hours a day studying vocab. You're not going to learn Korean even if you did that for 10 years. So keep your vocab study to a minimum. I don't know. I'll say between 5 and 15 minutes to 30 minutes, maybe, if you're doing a lot. You don't want to do more than that, a vocab per day. So like 5 to 15 words per day, new words, depending on what you're comfortable with. If 15 is way too much, then shorten it down to 5. If that's too little, go up to 10. I do 5 for where I'm at. I mean, I don't want to do any more because the words I'm learning are like really specific, painfully hard to use, like to be appointed as, like words like that. You might see them once. But anyway, but yeah, 5 to 15 is what I'd say. And then spend maybe an hour on grammar at most, maybe 30 minutes in grammar as well. Just do like a lesson, practice it a little bit. And then the rest of your day should be, as much as possible, listening practice and speaking practice. That's really what's going to help you improve faster. Immersion got me drunk on makgeolli. Bad immersion. Is there a video about 종류 versus 가지? There's not a video about it. It's just a word. I think I teach it. I'm pretty sure I cover those in my Korean Made Simple series somewhere. I'd have to check where. 종류 is just a genre, a type of something. 가지 is also a type, but typically 가지 is going to be used with other modifier words like 여러 가지 or 한 가지 or 두 가지. It's also used as a counter, whereas 종류 is typically not. It's just used as like a different kind, a different type, like that sort of word. And it's a little bit more formal because it's the Hanja version, whereas kaji is a pure Korean version. That's it. That's your lesson. Putting lots of hours, typically 2 or 4 or more per immersion hours per day. Yeah, the more you can do, the better for Korean. But yeah, like I said, don't just do more of vocab, more of the sit down study. You need a certain amount of that. And sure, I mean, the more of that is better, but you're not going to get as much out of it as you would doing a little bit regularly, but doing a lot of content consumption and a lot of speaking or typing practice where you're actually using the grammar and using those vocab words that you're learning in a real situation. That's really what's going to cement your knowledge of those words. Another Korean superstition is you should never buy your girlfriend or wife shoes because those are the shoes she will walk out on you with. Specifically, it's specifically 고무신 is what you're talking about. 고무신 are like rubber shoes. They're so you wouldn't buy those because it's like traditionally someone with rubber shoes, like the boyfriend goes to the military, and while he's gone in the military, the girlfriend finds a new boyfriend. Like that's kind of the superstition. So there's kind of that like a thought in Korean that, oh, if you buy someone these shoes, they might leave you. But it's not like buy someone shoes and they're going to break up with you. It's like, don't buy him rubber shoes, specifically 고무신, because they have that superstition. But if your girlfriend's like, hey, I really need 고무신, are you going to be like, oh, I'm not going to buy you those. Haha, you almost got me. Like, how I'm not going to let you break up with me. It's not like that. You just buy her rubber shoes. It's just it's kind of like a superstition, like don't walk under a ladder. But what if someone's like, hey, can you walk under that ladder for me and grab me something I dropped? Are you going to be like, oh no, I'm not going to dare do that. It's like, just do it. Like it's here. You might say, I even walked under a ladder for you. That's how good of a friend I am. Like you could say that, but like superstition doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to do it. It's not going to stop you. It's just an idea that people have. Virginia says, I just wanted to say I discovered your channel and I love it and you're so helpful with Korean. Thank you. That's very nice. I'm glad the whole state of Virginia thinks that. And getting immersion from YouTube, podcasts, live streams, reading, TV shows, etc. And a big emphasis on getting lots of input before speaking. No, that would be terrible. There's no reason to delay your speaking because you could start speaking right now and get better right now, or you can start speaking in a year and get better in a year. Which would you rather have? It doesn't matter how long you delay it. You're not going to magically be able to speak Korean if you don't practice speaking Korean. No one's going to consume 100,000 hours of content and suddenly start speaking Korean. That doesn't make any sense. And if it does make sense to you, then great. Show me someone who's done that. They don't exist. So no, start right now. There's no reason to delay your learning. It's like, I'll start studying next year. Why not start studying now? Yeah. But the part about immersion is a normal part of learning. Yes, get immersion resources as much as you can because you need to hear Korean. You need to get your brain used to hearing these words that you're studying. But then you need to use them yourself so that you can be able to make those sounds, make those sentences when the time comes. Kai! Oh no, lexicon. I was joking. You're not going to actually lose your spot right away if you don't keep the donation. You've got it. Today, anyone who donates has their spot forever. You're not going to lose it. Your spot is permanent here. If you own this minute, I'm not going to take it away forever. Even if you donate like $1 and then you just disappear off the face of the earth and you never come back to my live streams for like 100 years, you're still going to have that minute. But your selection is getting thinner. There are only 54 spots left. And the really good ones, like 42, 7, 30, 0, 15, these good ones are getting swiped up. Thanks, Kai. Sue Amazing says, is it better to get immersion with Korean subtitles or without? If you're talking Korean subtitles, it's fine, either one. Just be aware that Korean subtitles do not match what the person is saying. they rarely match exactly what the person's saying. They always match like the gist of what they're saying, but rarely do I see the subtitles exactly match what a person says. It'll at least cut off filler words that person used, and often it'll change grammar that they use like a little bit to make it more proper. So just be aware of that, but there's nothing wrong with using Korean subtitles. There is something wrong with using English subtitles though, but not Korean, or whatever your own native language is, of course. Well, in that case, when should I speak? You can speak right now to yourself out loud when you're by yourself in your room. You can practice speaking in the shower. Yeah, if you got to start speaking as soon as possible, because yeah, it's true. If you delay your speaking, it's not going to like, you can still learn. It's not going to like permanently affect your Korean or anything like that. You're fine, but you've just delayed it. You've delayed starting it by however much time you've delayed it, when you could have spent that whole time also practicing and improving. Now, I've heard someone say that if you delay it, your pronunciation will be much better. That's not true. There is no one who starts speaking Korean and magically has good pronunciation. That's not how it happens. You need a lot of input to get good pronunciation, but you also need not just as much, but you still need a lot of practice to get good pronunciation anyway and make good habits. It's not like if you wait until you feel like it, you're magically going to start speaking really clearly and well. Like, no, you're still going to sound like a very brand new beginner on day one. You can start earlier, but yeah, the best way is if you don't have anyone to practice with, just try speaking out loud to yourself. Say things you're doing throughout the day, like 이제 손을 씻습니다, or 이제 손을 씻어요. Like, 그리고 샤워를 해요. 샤워를 하고 있어요. 비누가 없네요. Like, you can try speaking to yourself like that very simply, but that's like speaking practice. And then hopefully though, you'll be able to get someone you can practice with in person. Hey, Kai. Oh wait, no, I just read yours. I saw a donation pop up. I thought it was Kai's again. But hey, Kai, Lexica. Kai's half an hour early, but just to demonstrate my BTS commitment. Yeah, Kai, Lexica's is at the 7 minutes, not every 7. It's not like 17, 27, 37, 47, 57 like that. Thank you, Lexica. Hold on. 7 plus 5 is, I can do this, 12. There we go. Thank you, Lexica. Fisho says, I skipped 90% of your message. Where? I didn't see it. Let's see. I speak Korean exclusively to my cat. That sounds great. If it works, sure. Daniel says, I delayed learning Hangul, but all that did was delay me learning Hangul. Sure. Well, I mean, that's a little different than the arguments for delaying speaking, but I get what you're saying. It's kind of, it's not quite that same thing. You still will learn, even if you're not speaking, by listening. It's just much less. You're not going to actually learn how to speak just from listening, though. At least it doesn't happen. So if anyone has any alternate data to that, I've never heard of it happening. There are plenty of people, though, that will learn like that as when they start learning from a very young age, like when they're 16 or whatever at the, 16, 17 at the latest, or 15 or 14 or whatever, they move to Korea, they start doing intensive Korean studying, and then they magically learn Korean because guess what? They were still at the age when their brain can take language like that. And I did a separate video about that as well. There's something called the critical hypothesis, which is about like what ages it's okay for your brain to learn content through immersion, not just through immersion. You still learn through immersion, but without using, extrinsic, like outward influences, like reading textbooks and trying on your own to learn, like without doing that. And there's like an age range for that. It's not exact what the age range is, but there's a range in that range, which is pretty well proven, I'll say. Or there's lots of evidence for it. It's not proven, but there's lots of evidence for a range. I hate getting Yangwad. I start in Korean, but they answer back in English. That's normal. And even if it even happens to me, if that helps you feel better, it's not that your Korean is not good enough necessarily. It could also be that they hear your Korean and they think my English is better than their Korean. I want to show them my English is really good. I want to show off my English. And they do that. They'll speak English back to you. It could be that. If you know that you said something correctly and understandably and they still replied in Korean, it could be just they're trying to show off, which is really common. Nothing negative about that, but just the same way you want to show off your Korean, they also might want to show off their English to you. If it's someone, though, who doesn't speak much English, they're not going to try to do that because they're like, I don't know any English. Like, I don't feel confident in my English. Let's just keep speaking in Korean. But a lot of people are confident in their English and they want to show it. They're like, hey, well, that's great, but I like you already. I want to help talk with you. I want to know more about you. And I think if I do it in English, we can talk more. That's kind of their thought process. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean you did a bad job because I'll have that happen to me a lot too. Not most of the time, but sometimes I'll speak Korean and I know I said it correctly, said it clearly. Like I've been doing this for long enough. I know how I sound in Korean. I know if I say something like really nice and clear and accurately and everything, and then they'll reply, oh, wow, your Korean's really good. How did you learn Korean? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then it like deflates the whole practice. Sometimes though, they just want to show that they speak English too. They're like, oh, I lived in Texas for 8 years or something, they'll say. Totally normal. Understanding and speaking are two different things. Yes, that's also true. In that, when should I speak? I said I already understand most things on most. Okay. Most. Define percentage-wise. What is that? Is that 60%? Or 51% is technically most. 80% is technically most, and 95% is also technically most, but those are very dramatic differences. If you get the gist of everything, though, that's good if you're at least at 51%, but I might give you a different answer depending on where what number you answer for that. Tell us a new grammar or a thing you learned recently in Korean. Let's see. Words, I lots of words I learn because that's usually what I do for my grammar, for my Korean study every day is just vocab. I'm going through my vocab deck on Anki, which you can get. It originally started as just a list of a bunch of words that I had seen and thought, oh, this is cool to add to my list, whether I knew it or didn't. It would just be like, oh, let's add this, just kind of a like storage for words. But then I realized, oh, actually there are a lot of cool words in here I picked up. I'll make it publicly available, but I hadn't sanitized it. It had like tons of weird like the organization was all weird. It had like duplicates and stuff. So I quickly did a bunch of basic sanitization to make it so it looks cleaner and everything. But now I'm going through it as an actual vocab deck. And I've been doing that for over the past 4 years now. And not done yet because it has too many words, but slowly getting there. And just words like that. I'm trying to think, what would be one that's noteworthy to say? What's a fun one that would be recent? Let me check. Most of the ones I'm coming to mind are like a taxidermied animal. Like that's not really like a really fun one. Let me try to think of like a fun one. So I'm just going to open it up and see if there's what's for today. Let's see. Oh, I actually did learn one yesterday. This one I had heard before. 뚫린 입이라고. 뚫린 입이라고. This is one that I'd heard before, but I didn't know I knew the literal meaning, but I didn't know the idiomatic usage. 뚫리다 is to be like torn, like to be pierced. Something's poked through. So 뚫린 입이라고 is like, hey, that's a pierced mouth, which basically means your mouth is just a hole punched into your face. And it's used for, saying something like, hold on, let me see if I can even open my card here. When someone's saying something that's like inappropriate or like, I don't want to hear that. Like, oh man, look at the mouth on you. Like that sort of negative expression about someone with a mouth. That's one that I learned just yesterday. I also learned the word, 섬유 is the word for fiber, but I already knew that word. But I learned a specific word, 식이섬유. Shigi is like diet. So it's like 식이섬유 is like the dietary fiber. another random fun word, but I use that word sometimes. See if there are any other fun words I learned recently. Yeah, that's like recently the new ones. I have a few other ones, but they're not really fun or sharing. 80 to 95. Okay, it's a very big range. If it was 95, I mean this completely seriously, you would know it's 95. You wouldn't need to think, oh, maybe 80 to 95. It probably means it's closer to 80. That is not enough to understand outside of like variety shows or basic podcasts. You'll get the gist of everything, but you're not really going to be able to follow along beyond the gist. Like, oh, now they're talking about this. Now they're talking about this. And that's pretty much the extent. You wouldn't be able to actually follow along with the details they're saying or how they're saying it. If you've been doing already lots of immersion, that's great. Keep it up. But there's going to come a point which is right now, you have to actually start using it in order to grow beyond. There's like a limit you can reach with just doing listening exposure that people aren't going to talk about. If you're in a group of people that's only saying, like if you're in a study group and they're saying only do immersion resources like listening practice, you're not going to get very far with that. You have to start doing speaking practice to get beyond that 80 to 95% you're saying, to get to an actual 95%, like every time 95%, which is like, that's a strong conversational level when you can understand like 95% all the time. When you're fluent, you're good enough to understand everything. You're just maybe missing a couple words, but you can fill those in with the context every time. It only comes through a lot more speaking practice because you need to have the speaking practice to build that listening practice on top of. And if you don't practice speaking it, you're quickly forgetting it and then forgetting it and forgetting it. Like that word you studied, you're going to forget it until you can speak, which reinforces it. So get pen pals. Try to practice on, I know there's some Discord channels where they have native Koreans that go in there and hang out. Try to practice with a native Korean, make friends online. Even if you're just messaging them, that's fine. Preferably though, you'd want to hire a tutor and get like the cheapest tutor you can find who's native and tell them you only want to speak in Korean. Like write in your message, 저는 한국어로만 말하고 싶어요. 30분 동안 한국어로만 말하고 싶어요. Just like directly say that. And when you're booking your class, do like the $8 an hour, the tutor, the cheapest one that you can find, and just tell them, I just want to speak in Korean. Like you don't have to teach me anything. Let's just speak in Korean and just have someone that you can practice speaking with. And that will really be a big help. All right. Take care, Flo. Ever thought of making a word a day or 사자성어 calendar? Yeah, I used to have a word of the day bot in an old server. There was like a bot that every single day would post a new word of the day, but I stopped doing it because most of the people that were there didn't care. Like it was supposed to be that it would post a new word and then you can make a sentence with it. It just didn't have that much interest. But if you do like that idea, I believe Naver Dictionary's the Korean Learner's Dictionary, which is a dictionary you can find, has a main page that has like a word of the day for every single day. They'll have a word and a sentence with it and the definition, and you can just refresh that every day to see the new word that they're giving you. So you can still get that concept anyway. Also, I had an old app, which is no longer available, but one of my friends had made an app, and that had that same word of the day widget that would pop up. But yeah, the app's no longer in existence. Okay, Fisho. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like, you want to practice right now. Because it's not going to ever get higher than that until you have a foundation to build upon. But 80% is actually really good. That's enough to get the gist of everything, and you can do a lot with the gist. You can have full conversations. Like, the person you're talking with doesn't have to know that you only understand 80% of what they're saying, as long as you can still follow along. You can do a ton with that. Is there a word in Korean you recently heard you didn't recognize? Just the word that I mentioned before, like new words that I learned. Oh, I have another question on immersion, says Sue. Amazing. Hold on. Okay, just going to go for a few more minutes. Is listening without understanding anything good? Yeah, it still helps. Because what helps the best is what they say is listening at a level of n+1, n being your current level, trying to find material that's just a little bit above what your current level is. So if you're a brand new beginner, that means don't turn on a Korean drama. That's going to be like your level plus 10. That's like way above your level. If you're a brand new beginner, you want to find content that's like YouTube videos. You're going to find like Korean lessons, like, you know, the basic sentences. 나는 가게에 갔어요. 나는 친구를 만났어요. Like that sort of sentence is what you want for right now while you're a brand new beginner. But as soon as you can get that, then you can go to the next level, which would be, say, like a beginning learner podcast, which is the person speaking very slowly. And then after you're there, then you can go maybe, you know, a few months of that. Then you go on to actual Korean podcasts, but that are about simple topics that you know, or variety shows, which is just everyday speech, which is, you might think, oh, it's really native level. Yes, but it's really only that much more than what you're doing for listening anyway. And then when you get that, you go another level, but not going too much above your level. So whatever that may be is what you want to find. Something that you can't understand. So you don't actually want content that you can understand necessarily. You want something above the level that you can understand. That's what you should be looking for. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting better that fast. It's kind of like the content is pulling you up. And if you have something at your content, it's just kind of keeping you there, which is good for retention. But you want to get higher, so you got to try something that's a little higher, and then you do something next like that. That's how it works. From your experience, what should we avoid? As a beginner, what should you avoid? Romanization of any kind, except with the exception of the very first time you learn the alphabet. It's acceptable to write like an M next to the Myeom letter. That's fine. That's not going to hurt you. But don't do it for words. Definitely don't go anything farther than like syllable practice when you're just first learning the syllables. Don't write words. Don't write sentences. I've seen what it does. It really stops your Korean learning. So yeah, romanization, don't do that. Don't translate things literally. Don't expect Korean to work like English. Keep an open mind. If you hear something that doesn't make any sense, keep an open mind to it. Be like, oh, okay, I guess it's just, that's how it works. And also, I'll say something you shouldn't do as a beginner is be afraid of Korean or be intimidated by Korean, because it's only intimidating because you don't know it. But once you learn it, it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Okay, I get it. Like everything's like that in Korean. It'll just make sense. But at the very beginning, when you first hear it, it's like, oh, it's really hard. Sound changes. There's so many sound change rules. But then when you get practice with it, you're like, oh, actually, it's not a big deal. In fact, I don't even remember those rules. I just use them now. A lot of stuff in Korean is like that. Even the most difficult topic in Korean, I'd say, is probably something like politeness levels, which is also not a big deal when you learn how they work. Passive verbs, not a big deal because the ones that are most common, you're hearing all the time anyway. So you don't really have to go out of your way to stress about it. Just learn they exist, learn a few verbs, and pay attention to it. And then you'll see them. You're like, oh, okay, that's passive. And you'll pick it up that way. So yeah, I would say just don't be afraid of Korean. I have never encountered anything in Korean that's like, whoa, you gotta be like, you have to really study for this. You have to be like really smart to do this. There's nothing like that. Like, I know some of the smartest people who have trouble learning Korean, and I know some of the, for lack of I'll just say not smartest people, so that I'm not being offensive. It's not smartest people speaking great Korean. Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with your intelligence. It just has. So yeah, don't be afraid of Korean. You can do it. Cosma says, when I speak to native speakers, I get stressed to come up with an answer quick and I mess everything up. Yeah, that will help if you get good at making short sentences. Like that's a trick that I learned when I was a beginner, is you make a short sentence that sounds correct and is grammatically correct and you have good intonation. And everyone thinks your Korean's good from the very beginning. I mean, they didn't really think my Korean was good in the very beginning, but after you get the basics down, because I would do really short answers. 네, 그러게요. 네, 맞아요. 저도 그렇게 생각해요. 네, 뭐라고요? 아, 잘 모르겠어요. Like, I actually, if I didn't hear what they said, I didn't understand, instead of being like, oh, I didn't understand, I'd be like, oh, I'm not really sure. So I could give an answer even though I didn't know what they said. Like, I was just good at giving really short answers to things, and people would be like, oh, Billy, your Korean's so good. Wow, how do you sell? Like, it's not, but you'll never know. So short answers and speaking in short sentences. Don't try to be all fancy and express like, the rains poured down upon my brow, and I felt the cold chill of winter approach me as I walked into the distance, a shadow of my former self. Like, you don't need to be poetic and fancy when you speak Korean. Just be really simple and straightforward and make short sentences that convey what you're trying to say, and that will sound really good. It sounds good to native Koreans if they can understand what you're saying right away. Kai, thank you. I forgot. Okay, that's Kai's reminding me I gotta go because it's the top of the hour. But if I go 7 more minutes, I'll get me. And then I go 20 more minutes, and I go 13 more minutes. Like if I keep going around the clock, I have to like plan for the ones that are like donating to see how long do I need to stream to get maximum return on my investment. Turn it into like business and everything. Oh, I swear that's what would happen if someone like bought the Go Billy Korean brand. Like, how do we maximize the number of donations we get? Like, calculate, Billy, okay, you're gonna stream today from like 1:57 until 3:49 and not a second more. Like that. Thank you so much, Kai. Okay, Billy, now say it in Korean. Say what in Korean? Say what in Korean? The Billy Go Korean lesson of dance marathons. Yes. Mikey says Gladiator 2 is really good. I don't believe you. I liked Gladiator 1, but I wasn't like one of those people that would go around and put Gladiator as their favorite movie in their MySpace page. I just thought it was like a well-made movie, and that's it. Not very satisfying to me to watch. I'm not a big fan of like tragedy drama movies. Like, I want to see like some, and there's exceptions, but like I want to have some, I want like a character that I really care for. I just couldn't find like an attachment to the main character in the first Gladiator movie that much, other than I really wanted the other guy to lose. Say all the poetic stuff in Korean. I don't even know how to say it again in English. Billy, what would be the difference between you versus a native Korean teacher, aside from pronunciation? If we're talking about in general, I can teach better. But native Korean teachers have something that I can't offer, and that is nonstop, immediately making native sentence after native sentence after native sentence and variations of it forever, without even having to be a teacher, just being a native Korean. That's a benefit. I can't match that. As far as teaching, I'd like to think that I'm better than the majority of at teaching than the majority of your regular native Korean teacher, just because I've spent more time studying it and teaching it, versus someone who teaches it in Korea. They may have just started a few years ago. They might not really want to do it. It could be, it might be their dream job, or it might be like a temporary job. It might be just their hobby. Whereas like I live and breathe teaching Korean. That's like, I'm in the shower this morning and I'm thinking about video ideas, and I'm thinking about what I should teach. And I'm thinking about, I wonder if this grammar form's origin is from this word. Like, that's the kind of garbage that I'm thinking about all the time. So yeah, it's pros and cons. And I think if someone's non-native speaker, they can bring that to the table, their experience with actually having to learn the language. So you can look at me and you can see that it's possible for anyone to get to, at least to get to my level. I don't consider myself like linguistically gifted or anything. I mean, you hear how I speak English. I can barely put together a sentence sometimes. I don't consider myself like above average intelligence or anything like that, and I can do it. I've just spent I've spent so much time teaching Korean and studying Korean that I'm at my level. This didn't magically happen overnight. Kai says, I miss MySpace. Well, that makes one of us. Go to MySpace and like there's some like an Avril Lavigne song playing in MIDI at the bottom of the page. And like there's so many scrolling marquees and there's like snow falling down the screen that like makes your Netscape lag. You're like scrolling down and the font's like gray and the background's like black, so you can barely even read the italics handwriting font that someone wrote their top 5 friends' names on. And then there's a glitch that everyone, like if you click on something, it would like hack your page. Yeah, I don't really miss MySpace. You can tell I had a MySpace. I did that too. I had the top friends. I had my top friends list as well. But it was just whatever. I think I only had like 10 friends on MySpace total that I talked with. So it was pretty easy to get on it. Fisho says, is it just me or every time I watch a Korean video with English subtitles, they translate into things I wouldn't phrase it? Yeah, it's normal. It's because translation is a skill. And I'm playing a Korean game right now called 지금 우리 학교는. They also made a drama about it. It's like All of Us Are Dead, or I think is the name of it. It's like a zombie drama. I never saw the drama, but the game is what I'm playing. And I'm checking it with the Korean subtitles versus the English subtitles, and they don't match like most of the time. Most of the time they're missing something or they translated something differently. And it just depends on the skill of the translator and what the goal of the translator was. Are they just trying to rush out a translation that matches? They did a great job. Were they trying to make like a perfect literal translation or a perfectly natural translation? No, let's just get a translation that makes sense, that sounds okay. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of skill to do a translation that'll match. So the majority of times when something's translated, they just translate the feeling of it. For a while, the Con Air was one of my favorite. Con Air is a good movie. Con Air was pretty fun. It was like wild. There was the other movie that was also trying to think. Oh yeah, okay. Con Air was fun, and then Demolition Man is maybe Demolition Man and then Con Air. I'm not sure which one I like better. They're kind of like those chaotic 90s movies where it's like nonstop action the whole time. Face Off. That's the other one I was thinking with Nicolas Cage. Face Off, I'd say is a little bit higher than that. This is not my top 10 list of movies, but like top 10 Nicolas Cage movies. Face Off is toward the top. Con Air is a little below that. Yeah. Let's see. Kai says, I struggle with sentence structure when it comes to longer sentences. Like, I eat pizza is easy to switch, but when it's a longer sentence, yeah. So Kai, the secret of sentence order is, I did a video where I gave, did I upload it? Hold on. I think I already uploaded it. Yeah. In my Korean FAQ series, check out the video I made about sentence structure, Kai, and I explained the basic structure of how sentences work, like the time, the who's doing it or whatever, and then the object, and then the verb or the subject or whatever like that. I have like a video where I explain the pieces, but beyond that, longer sentences are just putting together short sentences. So I like cheese. So like, let's think of a long example sentence. Kai, can you give me an example of a long English sentence? And I'll break it up in Korean and show you what I mean. Give me an example. It doesn't have to be ridiculous. Just give me an example of something you might want to say in Korean. Write it straightforward. Don't like give it flowery idioms or anything. Just write a straightforward sentence that you might want to say something in Korean. I'll break it down for you. I'll show you how it works. I was actually thinking about doing a series of this sort of thing, sentence builder forms. I don't know if I should say this because I don't like announcing things before they've even started, but that's another idea I had for a course as well as a book. Watch a Disney movie and they aren't even close to matching the actual Korean. Yeah, they're 100%, they're going to go for whatever sounds the best, like whatever feels the best. Native Korean speakers can't explain why things are the way they are like a non-native. It's because, though, it's not that they can't, it's because they haven't paid attention to that sort of thing. Their focus is how. is on the how. Like, how do you do this? What are the rules? When do you do this? That's their focus. Their focus is not on the why, because it doesn't matter. It just is, right? My focus as a learner is always on the why. That's the first thing I want to know. Like, before I even understand the form, I'm like, wait, why did they do this? Is what I'll always think first. Like, if I see a new word, I'll always think, why is this word this? And why is it not this? So that's all I do. So totally, I can tell you the why for pretty much everything. And if there's something I can't tell you the why, I even tell you. I'm like, oh, I don't actually know why this is, but here's my guess. I do that sometimes too. How to be a better translator? Lots of practice. It's a skill, so you train it. And you do practice translating short stories. You can practice translating dramas. I'm sure there's a drama translating team on the internet that translates new episodes of a show that isn't available on Netflix or something. There's like a team of people that just make fan subs. You could probably join a fan subbing group and practice by doing that. And you just do it a lot. And you get good at it because you'll get used to, oh, how did I translate this last time? And you can search, oh, that's right, I did this. And you get faster at it. Okay, let's see. I like that idea for a course or a book about building sentences. Yeah, it's just something I'm thinking about. I'm going to be working on a new course though, but that's not going to be yet. I still have to finish my ATs series. I still have to do a few other things before. Sentence form, like using two adverbs, which one comes first? If you have two adverbs, you use the one that you would want to say first. Like, are you saying quickly, directly? Or are you saying like slowly, deliciously? Like which one would you want to say first in English? It's pretty much the same as that. But you usually don't use two adverbs one after the other unless it's something simple like more good, like more 好彩, like that. I always want to know the why also. Well, to be fair, if you have a native Korean teacher, they can also find out the why. Most of the time, it's actually not that hard to find out the why of anything because you can just Google it. Type Yure is like an origin of something, like the origin of a grammar form or whatever, where it comes from. You can also search Owon. Owon is like a root word. So if you're searching a word, you want to find out what root it came from, you can search with Owon. Or if you're searching for like a word or a form in general and you want to know about like the etymology of it, you can search for Yure, which will also tell you about that. And usually you can find stuff right away. Like what was the original form of this word? Where did it come from? Why do people say this word? And there's not always an answer, but there usually will be some theories why or where it could have come from, like that. Let's see. Kai is probably thinking of a sentence. How commonly, Sophisticate asks, how commonly did you run into people where you had to have long conversations that may have challenged you when you lived in Korea? I mean, long conversation is just the conversation keeps going. Pretty commonly, you can start a conversation with someone, like go to a restaurant and start talking with the worker if they're not busy. Like, I shouldn't say worker because it depends. The owner, if they're just not busy, if they're just hanging out and they're sitting down and eating or watching TV, which is really common at mom and pop restaurants, you can just start a conversation with them. You can have a long conversation about whatever. If you're open to answering their questions, they'll probably be curious about you and you can have like 20-minute conversation while you're eating. Pretty normal. You can have conversations when you're getting your hair cut. Pretty normal because they usually don't want to just, well, not that they don't want to be silent, but it's fine if you talk. Let's see, you can have conversations when you're buying things. You can ask people if you go to stores, you can ask them like which items should you buy or ask their opinion on products. There are lots of opportunities to have long conversations. You just kind of have to be open to talking with them. I can have long conversations with most of the people that I film for my interview series when I'm doing street interviews, because when I start talking with them, I mean, usually I'll say, hey, do you have like a minute? And they're like, oh, I'm busy, but sure. And then we film. And after we finish filming, It turns out they were on their way somewhere, but they're okay going there later, and they're fine talking. Now, I have to keep filming, so I can't talk long, but if I wanted to, I could sit down and be like, hey, you want to get lunch? Like, it would be really easy to do something like that. Most Koreans are pretty friendly and open to having conversations, especially if you look like you're not Korean, but you're speaking Korean. I urge grace when it comes to translation because you don't know what went into the decisions. Yeah, it is a profession. That's right. Not everyone doing translation is a professional. Also, not everyone doing a translation is necessarily like cares about it. They might. It might just be like, yeah, it's just a job, like whatever. The person I'm doing it for won't even know if it's right or not, right? Or they don't really care. They just need a translation. Sometimes it's that. Other times it's like, it's not that important that I need to do a good translation for it because it's just, it's just a short story that's only online, or it's a TV show that I have to do 100 episodes and I can't translate them all like perfectly because it would take too much time. So it could be that. Other times it could just be legitimate mistakes, like they forget to translate a word or a part of a sentence because they spent so much time translating the first part, they just forget. They just slip their mind. Oh, I forgot to translate that. Oops. Evolving Brain. Yes, I did. Evolving Brain. I got him. So he got, I'll tell you in a second. Do you want to claim a minute? Evolving Brain? Because today everyone who donates gets to claim a minute. But it can't be one of the minutes that's already been claimed. Excuse me. If you want to claim, you can't claim 15. You could claim 14 though. Yeah, I got him a chocolate shake with whipped cream on top and he loved it. It was really good. He shared some of it with his mom, so with my wife. He shared some of it with her. She usually doesn't drink very much, like shakes and stuff like that, but she liked it too. He drank like 90% of it, and he was like really happy. And he kept bugging me about it. He's like, Daddy, you said one of your viewers bought me a shake, so buy me a shake. I'm like, okay, fine. So I bought him a shake, and I was ordering the shake. He's like, remember to get one for me, Daddy. Nastaria, thank you so much. This is great. It's a very productive live stream today. Thank you so much, Nastaria, for your quarter of the hour donation. But yeah, he bugged me several times, like, remember to get me a shake. Did I get it on Sunday or Monday? I think I got it from on Monday because Sunday we ended up finishing some pot roast that I had made previously. So we didn't want to let that go to waste. So we decided the day after, so that was on Monday, that we went out and got like 2 big cheeseburgers, like a large order of onion rings and 2 chocolate shakes with whipped cream. It's really good. Yeah. He hears this stuff, when I say really loud, like, oh, you're giving that for Jeremy? You bought him a drink or something? He'll hear it and he'll remember it forever. This is I don't need a period there because it's used in different ways. But 낮말은 새가 듣고 밤말은 쥐가 듣는다 is an expression in Korean, literally daytime words, 새, birds hear, and nighttime words, mice hear. Can you guess what that expression means? If you don't already know this expression, try to guess what that means. Daytime words, birds hear. Nighttime words, mice hear. This is not an unusual, it's a pretty common idiom, but it means that when you say something when everyone's around, everyone hears. When you say someone when no one's around, there's still someone that's going to hear. So it's basically always be careful what you say, because during the daytime birds will hear you and during nighttime mice will hear you. So I usually say this as a joke with my wife. Like, we make it as a joke. We say 낮말은 제레미가 듣고 밤말도 제레미가 듣는다 is what we say. Jokingly, basically, Jeremy's always listening. And it's true. If I like accidentally say, oh yeah, today I think once I got like $30 or something, someone donated. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was at that time, but someone had donated and said, buy Jeremy gift with this. And he heard, he's like, oh, that's that's for me. Okay, I'm gonna buy this. He's like picking stuff that he wants. He's like, order it right now. Like, give me a second. Like, your YouTube's gonna take their little percentage first, and then we got this left, so we can order you this. Yeah. Yeah, there's all the ears have, I almost said the ears have walls. The walls have ears. Yes, that's exactly what it means. Nastaria says, Jeremy deserves a shake all the time. Lady Natbook said, where'd you go for burgers? We went a local place that we really like. I can't say it without doxing myself, but there's a really good local place. S-Chan says, have you ever thought about doing a live stream entirely in Korean? Not really. I've done it before, but not on this channel. So I'll say that. But no, because I like teaching it clearly so everyone understands it. If I do it in Korean, then it's really just for people who already understand Korean. So in that case, I would have to be teaching a topic that would be at the level of someone who's at that level to be using. It would have to be intermediates or higher. How do you personally keep up to date with latest slang? I talk with lots of Korean friends and I Google constantly. Like, I'll check Korean news. If I see like people are posting new things, I'll Google to find out what those are. I'll check Korean internet sites and try to see what people are posting about. I'll ask my wife because she'll keep up to date with them as well. Checking the news, that can help. But usually I think my friends are the best source for that. I have one of my friends that will tell me constantly, like when there's new stuff going around. Evolving Brain. Evolving Brain. You serious? Is that movie any good? Has anyone seen it? This goes toward Jeremy's Moana 2 ticket. We have not seen it. I haven't heard. Is it good or not? I like the first one. Or I should say, I really liked the songs of the first one. What can I say? Yeah, I like the songs of the first Moana. I don't remember the movie too much. But I thought the movie was okay, I remember. Songs are great. Is it good? Thank you so much, Evolving Brain, though. Let me tell Jeremy really quick. Hold on. Jeremy, you got a movie ticket as a present. 영화표 사줬어, 누가.
진짜요? 무슨 영화요?
모아나 2래.
아, 그거요?
보고 싶어?
네,
이미 나왔지.
됐어요?
보고 싶어? 아니라고?
아니, 그게 아니라 아빠가 갑자기 말하니까 볼래요.
보고 싶다고? 그래. I'm like, do you want to see it? And he's like, no, but since you said that, yes, I do want to see it. If I'm getting a free ticket, is what he said. That's awesome. Keith asked, does your family watch your videos? Usually no. Unless Jeremy's in them, then usually, yeah, my wife will watch. And if Jeremy's in a video, he'll watch his own videos. Hey, Hopegate. Wait, Hopegate, you're not on here. Hold on, I gotta add you. Oh my God, wait, Hopegate, what do you want? Minute 20. Evolving Brain, also, you didn't take a minute. Do you want a minute? Hopegate, thank you so much. Let's see what you wrote. Have you read Korean poetry? Yes, but I have no recommendations because I'm not a fan of poetry. No offense to poetry readers. I just couldn't get into it. So I can't recommend anyone. I'm sorry. I don't read any Korean poetry. I read some. Let me see if I even have any. Oh Gwang-soo. I'm just reading because I have like a selection of poetry that I got printed out. This is all Korean poetry I have. So I'm going to look at the authors here. Oh Gwang-soo, Kim Yong-taek. I'm going to guess that these are famous because they're in here. Park In-hwan. This is a 1956 poem. Jung Ji-yong. Jung Ji-yong, I've heard of that name a couple times. Yu Si-hwa. Just reading off these names of the poetry. Qui Chun. No, that's the title of the poem. 천상병. You're writing all these down. Oh, 황금찬. 안도현. I've heard of that too. I've heard this name before. 안도현. Definitely heard that name before. 한용운. 문태준. Sorry. Okay, that's it. And then there's some stories, and you know, I have a lot of, but yeah, it's pretty much all like poetry and stuff. If you didn't get that, come into the Discord and I'll tell you those again. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend, because I don't know. But at least those are classics. And Kai, thank you so much. Money for some booze. Okay, I gotta tell him that. 제레미, 영화 보러 갈 때 제레미 그 5불짜리 기프트콘도 사줬어. 5불짜리 기프트콘을 사줬다고. 그러니까 제레미가 원하는 과자도 먹을 수 있게. 뭐라고 해야 돼? 고맙대. He said thanks. He's like, oh. I'm like, what do you have to say? He's like, thank you. I don't know if you can hear. I don't know how well you can hear, or if you can hear anything coming from down there. Thank you, Kai. Did Jeremy get some snacks? He does not want to see Gladiator. S. Chan says, cool, thanks for taking my question. It's my birthday. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending your birthday with me. Kai says he got Roblox. Oh yeah, he got Minecraft coins. That's right. He got Minecraft coins last time. Someone says something about Talk to Me in Korean has a book on it. They do. I didn't know that. I'll have to check. What's it called? What's it called? Evolving Brain wants minute 18. Okay. There's 52 minutes left, but most of the good ones are going. 45 still here. There's still some good ones. This tablet is gonna die. Once this tablet dies, we're totally over. So it's gonna die any second, I swear, because it doesn't last this long. 괜찮아요, 나달리님 고마워요. What was your original inspiration for learning Korean? I mean, there's a few original inspirations, but the original inspiration, there was a cute Korean girl at my college, but that didn't make me learn the entire language. That was like one of my first things. Oh, maybe I should learn Korean. And then I think it would mainly be having Korean friends in college. Like that's who they introduced me to the alphabet, tried to teach it to me, tried to teach me some words. I think one of the first words they taught me was a swear, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a long time ago and I don't remember all the details of it. But yeah, that's like when I first started hearing and getting into Korean was like 2005, January, February, March, sometime around then was when I was really first starting it, but not actually studying it yet. Oh, you can hear? Okay. How long does it take to get rid of bad habits? What type of bad habit? They say like something like 30 days or something. Is that what they say? 2 months, 30 days? I don't know. Evolving Brain. What? Is there a pizza fund? Is there a pizza fund? Hold on. 제레미, 또 누가 8불 줬어. 제레미, 괜찮아. 제레미, 또 누가 8불 줬어. 피자 사 먹으라고. He's still at the age where he's like, oh really? Oh cool, thanks. Like he doesn't quite get the concept of money. He was asking me the other day, he's like, Daddy, do you have $100? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, then you can buy me this. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy you that, but you have $100. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $100. Like, you don't understand. If I had $100 and I spend it, then I can't pay for rent. We're not gonna buy that toy for $100. So, thank you. And then, okay, let's see what else you said. Billy, please name one restaurant you recommend visiting in Korea. Okay. There's, I mean, I can't really recommend that one because it's like in a specific location. There was one I would recommend until a couple years ago when it closed. Franchises, I'll say Isaac Toast, which sounds really stupid, but I'll recommend checking that out once. It's a hard question. Give me a type of food. Give me a type of food that you really want to try, and I'll find you a recommendation that I personally been to before. Because there isn't like, go here and you'll get great Korean food, because it's like, in Korea, it doesn't work like that. The good restaurants they specialize. The really good restaurants are all specialized, with the exception of like some French restaurants, like Michelin star, kind of those ones, which are way overpriced and you don't need to go. But like actual Korean restaurants that'll have like, oh, that's the best. It really is a specialty place that only makes, it'll be called this. 전문점 is a place that specializes at whatever. You can like 순대 전문점 or whatever, like 짜장면 전문점, whatever. That means that that's their specialty. And if you find a restaurant that has that, it's a normal word. It's not like, it doesn't mean that the restaurant's good. It just means that's what they specialize in. And a restaurant that specializes in something usually means it's okay at that, because that's all they do. Like if you don't like their sundae, well, why would you go there? It's going to go out of business. So if you find restaurants that say this, it's usually okay. And are you looking, also you got to give me your budget. Are you looking for like no budget? Like I just want the best experience of my life, or I want some good food. I want it to be cheap, not the cheapest ever, but I want like cheap and good. Or is it like, I just want authentic? Like, I don't care if it's the best tasting or the weirdest or the most interesting. I just want the most authentic. Like, what do Koreans actually eat? You got to let me know. You don't have to pay me for this though. Just tell me this stuff and I'll tell you. You've already helped a lot. Round it to 10 for pizza. Thank you, Kai. Okay. Jeremy's got, I was going to stop this stream like 30 minutes ago, but then everyone starts giving money to Jeremy's Pizza Fund. Here, I gotta put Jeremy's Pizza Fund here. Hold on, actually. $10. Hold on. That was the and then movie fund. It's all Jeremy's. It's all going toward Jeremy. Like this like a third of today's donations are going to Jeremy, and my tablet just died. So we gotta stop. Soon. I can't keep doing this, guys. My tablet's dying. I gotta edit the video from today. Okay, I gotta look over here now. I want various types of tubu. Oh God, the place that I would have recommended until 2 years ago was a tubu 전문점. I swear, it was the best tofu place I ever had. They made their own tofu in-house. In fact, they gave you when you make tofu, you get left over all this like stuff that you can't use, like liquids, kind of like milk, like almost like tuyu, almost like soy milk, but it's thick and it has like pieces of soy sauce, not soy sauce. I mean, yeah, technically soy, but it has pieces of the tofu stuff in it, and they would give you that as a drink for free, and it's like creamy tofu because they made it in-house. For them, it was like the garbage that just came out. Normally places would sell it and they gave it to you for free, and it was so good because they made it there. They had tofu tonkas, so tubukas. That was so good. It was tofu that was really like thick, like the firm tofu, and then it would be deep fried in batter. And it was so good. And the best part, it was 6,000원. I kid you not. 6,000원 for 2 giant tofu katsu and like rice and vegetables and a little bit of a fruit salad. It was so good. And they closed. It was in Suwon. I swear, my wife knows what I'm talking about. I would go there every week, once every 2 weeks at least, just because it was so good. They also had really good donkasu too, but their dubukasu was just... they also had pijijjigae, which my wife loved, which is... pijijjigae is made from... It's kind of like ground up... the texture is kind of like ground up tofu that's made into like a soup. And you have like... There's like pieces of kimchi in it. Oh man, pijijjigae is either like it's a fail or it's like the best thing ever. And most places fail at it, where it's just like, it's not that good. And I've had it at some restaurants here in the States, and it's like, okay. But if you have it at a place that actually specializes in it, oh my God, it is so like, it's like soul food from a different culture. Like you taste it and you're like, oh my God, I'm sure that people grew up loving this. It has like that kind of flavor where you're like, as soon as you eat it, you're like, oh, I'm back at home. That place closed, but okay. Come into the Discord, Evolving Brain, come into the Discord, ping me and say tofu restaurant. I will find a replacement. Might not be that place, but I'll try to find you one. Let's see, what else do we say? Oh yeah, take care, MG. I'm gonna be leaving soon too because my tablet shut off, so I can't keep looking at the comments like this. I want to experience what Billy would typically experience in Korea. Yeah, that would be my favorite place. If there's another place, it would probably be somewhere in Seoul. I'm sure there are other tofu restaurants that are good. I don't think it's like the only good place, but it was a legitimate place. And it's sad that they shut down. Your internet aunties and uncles will always spoil you. Hope says, how would you recommend learning slang? I recommend learning slang by consuming Korean media. Specifically, YouTube channels that do meme videos. YouTube channels where people are playing games. Gaming channels will give you lots of slang. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way. Find a Korean gaming channel. I used to watch a guy. I'll recommend him to you. I don't watch him anymore, but during COVID, I watched every single one of his like 2,000 videos at the time. I'm not exaggerating. Every single one from beginning to end, paying attention. All the videos are like 20, 30 minutes. Some are an hour. Some are like 15 minutes, but it's like an average of 30 minutes per video. I watched every single one. I would listen like 3-4 hours a day. And he's really funny. And he also uses lots of memes when he talks. So you can learn stuff from him. And he's fairly easy to understand. He has a really pleasing voice. So I'll give him a recommendation. Like I said, I don't use him anymore because I listen to his stuff so much that it became, when I was talking about N+1, you want something a little bit above your level. It became like listening to him was like listening to my wife. I can understand what he was going to say before he said it. And I'm like, this is not going to help my Korean anymore. I've already completely saturated my brain with this guy's Korean. I can't learn anything else from him. So I stopped watching for that reason because I wanted to find someone else to use for my time for Korean study. But as an entertaining YouTube channel, yeah, check him out. Tell him Billy sent you and he'll be like, who? Who the heck is that? Get away. Like, go. I don't want you to subscribe. You're saying weird things. People I don't know. Okay, let me just catch up on the comments real quick and then we'll go. Billy, does it take a long time to get rid of bad language habits in Korean, like grammar, pronunciation, and unnatural sentences? Yeah, takes a long time, but it does also take a long time to learn those. So you'll either not use them for a year, let's just say a year, arbitrary number. You'll either not use it at all for a year, or you'll use it poorly for a year and slowly get better and then be good at it. But you're still, whenever you start, you're still going to have to start that process at some point. And yeah, it does take time to get rid of it, but it's not that hard to get rid of habits because most of them, like pronunciation, you just increase how much, like you, if for example, if you know your problem is pronunciation, you just try shadowing and that can help really quickly. It'll get rid of like all of your pronunciation mistakes at once, slowly, but all at once. And you don't have to like focus on one thing. It's just all at the same time. Everything's going to kind of go up. Grammar. You do more speaking practice. You hear people say, wait, what'd you say? Or you self-correct, and then it's gone. So yeah, it's fine. You'll probably always have little quirks to your speaking, which is just normal. It's just a part of who you are and how you talk. But it's fairly easy to correct major mistakes. Just because no one will understand you in the first place if it's a major mistake. Okay, next, just going through real quick. Gotta go. Want to join you in the Discord. Just letting you know you don't wait around for me. Okay, yeah, just ping me there and I'll try to find you a new place. All right, that's enough. Gotta go. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Jeremy's gonna be really happy that he's got $10 in the pizza fund and $25 in the movie fund. I mean, I buy movie tickets from Costco, so I think this pays for at least 2 movie tickets. Or if I go on I think Tuesdays, they have like discounts anyway, so should pay for 2 movie tickets anyway. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to our sponsors for today. I'm going to take a picture of this. Everyone who donated today and got your minute, that is your minute forever. It'll be enshrined forever. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.